All right.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay.
Hey, I
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. Hello, everybody. Look at this. Oh my God. Everybody in the house. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you guys, we have our great father-in-law, granddaddy, uncle, papa. We got Mr. Porter back, y'all. Yay!
Hey, Mr. Porter. Hey,
Hey,
Mr. Porter.
it's been a long time.
It has been ages, you guys. It's really been ages since we've had Mr. Porter on. But we've been trying to hold it down, Mr. Porter. It's been kind of rough, but we're trying to hold it down.
And I'm so proud of y'all because when I get a chance, which is not too often, I go back and look at some of the shows, and y'all been doing a great job. I'm just so glad y'all are activists. All of you are very active in the struggle. So
Somebody got a lot of noise in the background.
I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. That's me coming in the house. And the alarm was on.
The alarm was talking to us.
Yes.
Letting us know you was in the house, huh?
Uh-huh.
But okay, so you guys, yeah, we've been trying to we've been trying to hold it down. It's been rough because we had actually took when you kind of went on your little vacation, we kind of did the same thing. So everybody was like doing their own thing. And then it was times when we couldn't even get each other on our think tank group and talk about stuff because everybody was all, everybody was doing their own thing. But then we had an opportunity to do that. We had good conversation like we always do when we get together, y'all. So we're glad that you're back, and we want to kind of update you on something that recently happened. We can't go all the way back because it's been a minute. But recently, it's been a minute. But we talked about, okay, tonight's show we're going to talk about the increase in the utility rates and the breach and restore, because those two things came up sort of in the conversation when the mayor when Cure did their briefing. When you get a chance, you can go back and watch the show we did with the Cure briefing. And Thomas David, who you know who that is, he was explaining to everybody, actually to the board, because they're getting ready to ask for an increase on you guys' utilities. So he was breaking it down to the board on what their position is when it comes to making sure they're asking the right questions. So he actually gave them a booklet and for them to look over the rates so that when they bring it to the council to vote on, they'll be versed in what they understand about the rates. And when they make that decision to actually, when the council is going to make that decision to actually say, okay, yeah, we accept this and we're going to move forward on it, right? So what was interesting was, and like Tavares said something very pertinent, and it does, most of that sound like something Jacques Roy would have gave Thomas David and get him to do it. Now, Thomas David claims, from what he said allegedly, that he's well versed in a lot about utilities, but not about the electrical part of the utilities. He's not well versed in that, but water and all this, he claimed that he was very versed in how to do the rates and everything.
But he still gave a full presentation on it.
He sure did, for somebody who didn't know something.
Didn't know anything about it.
He sure did.
It makes me wonder, where did he get his information from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure he got it from Marcotte and Crutchfield.
Well, Marcotte, now, he didn't have too many nice things to say about Marcotte.
Really?
Yeah. In other words, he was saying that Marcotte is the reason y'all not bringing in that $14 million annually. Because he said he was lowballing everything. He gave the example. Yeah. He was giving an example of, like, if there was a need to repair a block, because the piping is like a block long. He said it usually costs $1 million a block. And that's what, if there was need for repair, that's what they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be spending that much money on repairs, right? He said, you guys don't even have money set aside for the repairs. So he was talking about, he also gave an example of one of those generators. Is that what it's called? Right? It's a generator. Right?
What's that thing that you had? The pump.
The pump.
The water. The water pump.
He said, you guys didn't have the adequate equipment to even do that with. He said, because again, they were lowballing, bringing in the most cheapest, in other words, the cheapest equipment to make things work. So he said, because you guys did that, it made the problem worse. And you didn't even have reserves in place. Like, you have a money that goes directly to your expenses, repairs, maintenance, and all that. Well, they didn't even have that for them to do. So when he was throwing out this money or these suggestions for money, that's all they were writing out. They weren't writing out like, okay, so if we take care of this now, what's going to happen in the future? So every time something would happen, there was no money left to take care of that next problem. So that caused a big problem. So he was basically saying that they were lowballing everything, and that's the reason why they have, the cheapest. You guys weren't getting the repairs, and things were happening the way they were happening because of the way that they were handling the finances in the budget. He said each one of the utility departments, water, all of them are supposed to have their own separate administration. Their whoever's over it, they were supposed to be all divided up. It wasn't supposed to be up under one whole person, because with them all being separate, it would be easier for them, to go interact with either one of them and have everything set up. So, when they do come together, okay, we know we got this. He said the way that they had it set up, it was not going to be conducive to what the city of Alexandria needed. He also talked about, what else did he talk about? What else did he talk about, Tavares? Remember?
He talked about how he would suggest at least $40. I think it's $20 to $40 increase or $100 increase on everybody's bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To get the money up.
Yeah. One thing he did not talk about is all the businesses that stiff the city with their utilities. One of the last things when they leave, like the old boy that left that big building downtown, and he let all those people, told them that there wasn't no AC unit, bring your own AC, and then that turned into, well, I'm leaving the building. He abandoned the building, and he abandoned he left the city with a $30,000 utility bill. That has to get spread across everybody that's in Alexandria.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's just one business, and if we were to spread it equally, you could say it'd be about $1.50 per customer, because that one guy, that in order to pay that off. Neither here nor there. I know we kind of want to start at the beginning, but there's so many different parts, and I have somebody very smart watching this episode, because there were certain things that they wanted to know. But they wanted to know what the city officially originally said about the breach, and they also wanted to know. They wanted us to confirm when Jock stated that he started working on the restore bill.
Okay, before we go there, before we answer that question, great, 2 questions. Remember, he said that the utilities was on the backs of the people. Remember, he said that?
He said, Mr. Porter, he said exactly that.
Yep.
He said that the cities, that the budget, what we've been saying is that all these things are on the backs of the customers, of the ratepayers, because we weren't customers, we're ratepayers. But it's on the back of the ratepayers. So the city's operations is on the backs of the ratepayers. The zoo is on the backs of the ratepayers. Links on the bayou, that's on the backs of the ratepayers. All those FETs, that's on the backs of the ratepayers. It's not coming out of any magic budget that we're generating funds for that don't include utilities. So whenever this increase, what's ironic is we were spending money on FETs when we should have been spending money on repairs, prevention. Like the fact that I remember you saying that the original FET had a black budget. That was a unique situation, because how can you not know how much you're spending on something, and how can you get a blank check to do so on the taxpayers' backs? But yeah, that was one of the things. That was 2 of the things.
Another thing too, he said, was the idea that we are losing population. So because Alexandria is losing population, that causes the ones who are left behind, the ratepayers that are left behind, that leaves them footing the bill. So it's going to be more on them, regardless whether they increase the rate or not, because people are leaving here. Businesses are leaving here. In other words, businesses that's been mom and pop shops that's been in business for 20, 30 years or whatever, they're starting to pack up and
No,
leave.
they're selling. They're selling and they're
Yeah,
leaving. Oh, not
they're
they're not
leaving.
selling. They're getting out of, like Thomas DeVito is getting out of business,
Yeah,
right? But that
they're
doesn't mean that Pan Am is going anywhere. That just means that he's made enough money. He's doing the same thing Marcotte did, which is stay in business. I believe all this revolves around monies that was used that wasn't supposed to be used for the purpose of whatever they were used for, and that the ratepayers were going to be made to fill in those gaps.
Oh, another thing he said too, talking about the water. So he broke it all down, each one of them down. He said that the water, we have enough water that we can sell our water, and other places do that. They
That's not
supplement
clean,
their
though.
income or their what's the name, revenue, by selling their water. But you can't sell dirty water, point blank. You got to clean up. And he also said this. He said those pipes usually last no more than from 70 to 100 years. Okay, the pipes underground. This is what he said. So it's well overdue time for those pipes to replace each one of those pipes. He also said the wells don't last no more than about 70 years. But he said we'd be pushing it to get them to 70 years. So the water wells need to be worked on. And that, but see, remember now, y'all remember, Jacques said it was y'all fault that the water was brown.
That he did say that you guys should check. It's not on the city. You need to check the pipes that are coming to your house.
Yep. When he stood there and said, David said that those wells need to be repaired or replaced.
So he confirmed that the dirty water was coming from the city.
That's what he said. And he said because the water supply we have good water supply because we have enough where we can sell it. But you got to do something with them wells. That's what he said. And then, and guess who was there? You would not believe who was there.
Who?
You know the bond man that showed up?
Oh, yeah, the bond guy. He was there.
He was there. The bond guy was there.
Which one?
The
guy that got up and did the whole speech for the bonds. Remember when they was trying to shove them bonds, when Jacques tried to get Villard to shove them bonds through, and he got up there and did that big rant? He was there.
He's the one. He spoke last. He spoke after David did.
Yep. And what did he have to say?
He basically, I don't want to say snitch, but he basically told why those bonds didn't go through. He talked about the decrease of the what's the name, from A to B, the rating.
Yeah.
He talked about why it's a rating. He said he even suggested to them what they need to do to fix the rating. And one of the things they need to do is to increase on the utilities. He also said that there is a thing called a water sector grant that most cities can get. Well, Alexandria applied for it and didn't get it. And the reason why they didn't get it was because one of the things that you have to have is to have your increase on your rating, on water. You have to have that increase on the water. And we didn't have it. And that's the reason why Alexandria was not eligible to get that grant money. And with some serious grant money. But because we didn't increase our rating and showing, and you have to show that you're going to increase it. They didn't do it. Increase on the utility rates. They didn't show it, so they were not eligible to get it.
So basically what they're saying is in order to get that bond money that they want, they absolutely have to
show that they're trying to fix the problem and do that by increasing the utilities.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't doing that. So we missed out on funds for that.
Well, I can speak to three of the items you mentioned and brought up.
Mm-hmm.
I have to use a disclaimer. My mind is getting a little bit feeble and forgetful. So I'm going to try and recollect as best I can, but we may have to fact check me, okay? Because I may get some things wrong. But the first item I'd like to expound on is the bonds. So if you remember back 2013, 2014, Jack Roy went out for $150 million of bonds. And he did that over a period of 2 years. Some of the bonds were 5% interest. At the time in 2013, other communities were floating bonds for 2.75% interest return on the bonds. We were at 5% and 4.5%. We were almost, not quite, almost 2 times. Now, usually when you go 2 times above the prevailing bond rate, that's because your credit is so poor. You're considered a very high risk in the bond market. So to attract buyers to purchase your bonds, you have to offer an additional incentive. And so for some reason, Monroe, Shreveport, Lafayette were floating utility bonds at 2.75%, but we went on the market at 4.5% and 5%. Now, the other caveat to that, our bonds that were at 5% and 4.5%, they were non-callable. That means we could not call in the bonds and pay off the debtors, the persons who purchase our bonds. We didn't have that ability because we said you can have these bonds for 30, 40 years at 5% interest. So we really dug ourselves a big hole, and we're still in that hole. So 2013 plus 30, that means 2043 is when we'll finally finish paying off those bonds. And 2044 for the 2014 bonds. So that's Jack Roy put us in a big hole back in 2013, 2014. Now, the other part of that is whenever you go to the bond market, to make sure we're not cheating people or trying to run a scam, that's where the Louisiana Bond Commission have to review all of your data, look into your books, and decide if indeed we're on the up and up. Are we presenting things exactly as we're saying? In other words, are we trying to run a scam on the people out there willing to buy our bonds?
Exactly.
They want to make sure we can pay them off, right? And they want to make sure we're not using the money for something else. So the bond laws, the bond commission is very stringent, and we have to follow it. If we don't, and it looks like we're going to default, the state can come in and take over the city. Or in this case, they can come in and take over the utility system. Okay. Another requirement of the bonds was that we maintain 18 months of interest payments. We have to maintain that in a separate account. Okay. And then when we went to the bond market about what our rates would be, we cannot drop down below those rates. So we can't give our citizens a rate break because we're locked in until we fulfill and satisfy the requirements of these bonds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I'm
that's
sorry, Mr.
one.
Porter. She's
What's
echoing.
that?
You're echoing a little bit, Mom.
Oh, I'm echoing. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're definitely echoing.
Or is it on my end?
No, it's her. Go ahead.
I'm not talking.
No, you can whatever you're playing us through, we can hear it in the microphone.
Oh, you know what? I'm tapping on my keyboard, Tavares.
No, we can hear Mr. Porter coming through whatever you're playing.
Okay, pumpkin. I'm sorry. I can't do nothing about that right now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can't. Okay. So go ahead, Mr. Porter.
Okay, so that's those are some of the issues with the bonds. Now, let's also talk about the funds. Now, the money that comes into utilities, just about all of it goes to utilities, okay? David Crutchfield was doing some strange stuff in the budgeting. If you look at every budget, whatever they projected that would come in to the city based on the utility revenue, they also projected that same amount was needed to run the utilities. So if they thought we were bringing in 200, say, I'll just throw numbers out, don't hold me to it, just for example, okay? Not real numbers. But for instance, if the budget said the utility system would bring in $150 million, then they turn right around and show that the projected expenses for the utility system would be $150 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the fact is, they did that every single year. So that was to ensure that none of the money that came in from utilities could be budgeted anywhere else. Now, of course, there were years where we made $25 million extra from utilities. We made $20 million extra from utilities. There during the time I was in office and scrutinizing the budget, that's we were always coming out with more money. So that fictitious budgeting approach, 150 come in, 150 goes out. It was more like 150 comes in, 125 goes out. Okay, or 120 goes out. So, and they knew that, but every year when they put the budget forward, that's how they would show it. Now, there are three things that we rely on the utility budget to supplement. And you mentioned those. You mentioned the golf course. That's supplemented from the utility, the excess or the profits from utilities. When I was in office, we supplemented the golf course to the tune of $1 million. What that means is that the golf course operations cost $1 million more than what they took in from patronage, from people coming and using the golf course and paying for things. We always ran a deficit when I was there, and they would not until I think the very last year I was in office did they finally increase some of their rates, charges, green fees is what they call them. I'm not a golfer, but so the other area that's supplemented by the utility department is the zoo. And once again, the zoo does not have enough paid patronage to meet its expenses. So we are putting an additional $1 million into the zoo. Okay. Now, and that comes from the utility profits. Now you said something, and let's correct it for all the folks that's listening or the ones who will come back and hear it. The FETs that Jack Roy puts on, that doesn't come from utilities. that comes from our recreation budget, which is another issue that is not recreation, that's entertainment. But that's where the money for those fets come from, our recreation budget. That's why the parks in districts 1, 2, and 3 don't get anything, and you'll get something, one little event, and they act like they gave us the whole world, the universe, and then meanwhile, 90% of the money goes towards the sports complex and Masonic Drive.
You're right. I misspoke on that.
Yeah, and here's the reason I brought that up, because folks listening to this would try and discount everything we said just based on if they can find one inaccuracy. So, but now the third item that you were thinking about, that the utility department supports, is A-Train, our public bus system. And that loses money because we don't have enough paid patronage to break even. Okay, so our bus service is also supplemented from the profits of the utility system. And there are other rules in the bond requirements of where we can use the money. So there's where we can use the money for A-Tran, the zoo, and golf course. There are some other places where we cannot use the money, and it's spelled out there. And as I mentioned, because the bond issuance was based on the full faith and credibility of our utility system, we're not able to go back and lower rates for people. Okay, not until we come out from under these bonds, and that won't be until 2043, 2044. So we got a long time to deal with this.
And so I think too, that's the reason why there's a need to raise the rates in order for them to, like he said, bring in that estimated. He said estimated annually, we're supposed to be bringing in $14 million in revenue for your utilities.
Okay.
And he said we're not even touching it.
And you see
Mr.
with
Porter,
the
can I
bond
ask a question?
requirement.
Oh.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where were you on November 19th, November 14th, 2019?
2019, November 14th, 2019.
Were you in office?
Yeah. Because
Do you recall a seminar that was put on by the city of Alexandria called "You've Been Hacked"?
no, I do not. Was that something Jeff Hall and his folks did?
That is something I just found it on Facebook. They have pictures and everything.
Okay, no. Now you see, one of the things about Jeff Hall didn't communicate with us or tell us stuff, me, Joe, Jules, or Ed. And then after Ed, it was the other guy, and then Malcolm. When he would have things like that, we wouldn't find out about it unless it was like in the media or something.
So this says more than 150 people attended the "You've Been Hacked" cybersecurity seminar Thursday morning at the Alexandria Convention Hall. The 4-hour seminar featured a host of IT security experts sharing tips for businesses to reduce their risk of being victims of cyber-based attacks, including ransomware attacks. The program was sponsored by CMA Technology Solutions, Ingalls Information Security, Kinetics, Payne Payne Moore Harrington LLP, Red River Bank, Turner Telco, Alexandria, and the City of Alexandria. The Reverend Ken Nolly of the City of Alexandria presented the open invocation of the You've Been Hacked Cybersecurity Seminar. The 4-hour seminar featured a host of IT security experts sharing tips for businesses to reduce. Okay, that's the same thing. I just said the same thing. All right, hold on. I gotta refresh it because I'm not signed. So this was 2019. They had everybody here from the Air Force. They who else was here? They have an IT team. There's a whole table of 4 IT people here, 5 IT people that work for the City of Alexandria. Jonathan Payton of CMA Technology Solutions was the master of ceremonies. Again, they're pointing out that it's a 4-hour seminar that the city put on in 2019, all about being hacked. And it was a room.
I don't
full
remember
of people.
anything about that.
I don't remember that either. I don't remember that.
That's what I was going to tell you to do, Mom. I'm on another screen, not on the screen that you're on now, but Google Alexandria, Louisiana data breach, and it'll be on the search page 3, because I really want everybody to see this.
Now say that again.
City of Alexandria, Louisiana data breach, and it'll be on the 3rd page, which is weird because it's on Facebook. So they had 2 years before the data breach, or 3 years before the data breach. No, that was when wasn't that when Hall first took office?
This happened right after COVID.
So that was in 2020.
Yeah.
And this was in 2019.
Because look, here's part of the sequence that I'm remembering. So when the shutdown occurred, that's when, well, let's go back. When the moratorium on disconnects occurred because of COVID, where you couldn't cut off people's utilities. Once that became widely known, folks stopped paying their utility bills. I mean, they just stopped paying it. And then when the city was hacked and the computer system was locked up and shut down, then folks, we couldn't send out bills either. And then once that was restored, where we were sending out bills, and folks that were behind from COVID, and then you had folks that was behind because we couldn't even send out bills to people. And so what happened was all of that compounded, and we ended up about $2 million in arrears at the end of that year. We were $2 million behind on revenue collections for utility bills.
Okay, it says June of 2022.
June of 2022. Okay.
So
Tavares, wait a minute. So where did you say that at? Because I didn't see what you saw.
You got to go to the bottom of the Google search thing and go to page 3 on the 3rd page. That's where it's at.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. No problem
Okay,
at all.
So where did it fall up under?
It's going to be a Facebook post. It says City of Alexandria, Louisiana government, and it's going to say more than 150 people attended the You've Been Hacked Cybersecurity Seminar Thursday morning. That's what it starts at. And it was a post from 5 years ago.
Nope, not on my page, on my Google page. It's not there. Okay. Can you put it in the what's the name?
If I do, I'd have to drop down out of this and then.
Oh, okay. Don't do it then.
Yeah.
No, but it's not showing up.
All right. Well, I'm trying to figure out another way to get to it. But in the meantime, in between time, it says June of 2022, but I think you told me, Mr. Porter, they've been in the system since January or February, right?
Yeah. So let me recount a sequence of events that you guys might remember.
Mm-hmm.
So the city of Alexandria, in spite of that that event you just recanted in 2019, city of Alexandria had chosen to discontinue the insurance coverage that we had that protected the city against hacks like this. We had an insurance policy. It was quite expensive. And the decision was made by the administration. So that would be Crutchfield. That would be Marcotte. That would be Jeff Hall. They decided that coverage was too expensive and we would drop that coverage and hire this company. I forget their name. What was it? Temple Security?
Tyler Cybersecurity.
Thank you. Tyler Cybersecurity out of Texas. So we dropped that company, and in January, we went with Tyler, and it was in January that Alpha 5 was able to penetrate our system. And they were in there, our system, going around doing all kinds of stuff. And then they shut us down in June. The last part of May, the early part of June. They locked up our system to where we couldn't issue payroll. We could not issue checks to contractors to pay bills. We could not send out bills to our utility customers. We couldn't even get access to our bank. Okay, so we were in a bad fix. And one thing you had asked, one question you had asked, what was the official statement about the breach or the hack? And the official statement from Jeff Hall, and at the time, I think it was, I'm not sure if David Williams was there or Shane Williams was it would have to have been Shane Williams, that they could not talk to us about it because it was under investigation. That was their official word. Now, Jeff Hall at the time had called for an emergency city council meeting, and he wanted the city council to approve paying the ransom, and the city council members voted it down. Well, only 4 of us voted it down. The other 3 voted for it. They kept saying, give the mayor what he needs, give the mayor what he needs. And we didn't pay the ransom. The ransom was $8 million. And from what Alpha 5 had done in Ohio, a small town in Ohio, after they had paid the ransom, they refused to release their system, and they had them pay another ransom. So we figured that's the same thing that was going to happen. Now, at the time that this happened, the city of Alexandria, in our what you could call piggy bank, this is like our savings account. If you were a family, this would be your savings account, not your checking account that you're paying bills through and getting your and depositing your checks into. This would be a savings account on the side. We had $25 million in that, between 25 and $27 million. And they knew that. Alpha 5 knew that. So our question was, if Alpha 5 already have access to all of our information, they know we're sitting on $25 million. Why are they only asking for 8? Why didn't they come and ask for 12 or 16 or something? So we knew they were going to come back for more. We voted that down. And so that's when the city brought in these contractors, and the contractors cost us a tremendous amount of money. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we paid the contractors more than $8 million to free up our system. But those were the same contractors that worked for the military and for the federal government, because what we didn't know at the time was that the federal government and the military were being hacked all the time. And that's why these guys, these contractors, were so familiar with this and what to do.
Mr. Porter, does the city is the payroll through Red River?
Yeah, I think that's the bank, the primary bank we were dealing with. Yes.
Okay, and did Kinetics provide any type of services to the city at that? I know they do now with the website, but I know I was asking, did the Kinetics have a lot? Did the Kinetics have certain contracts with the city in regards to anything IT related?
Yeah, they're the ones that do a lot of the city's website, if not all of it, or certainly parts of it. And they also the ones that manage and set up the
pay portal.
I don't know if it's payroll.
No, I'm saying the portal for you to pay your utility bill online.
You know what? I think that's a company out of Lake Charles that does that.
And I've heard you. We've talked and you've mentioned Payne Moore in Harrington. Who is that?
Oh, that was the auditing company that Jack Roy had in place for 20 years. Now you're supposed to change auditors every 5 years. Okay, but they had been our auditors for 20 consecutive years.
I think
so that was a violation of the state auditing laws or rules. I shouldn't say they are law. It's a law, but there's the legislative auditors practices and procedures. That was a violation of that.
Ms. McCall, did you find that post?
No, I didn't, but I did find this. Can
you bring it up for us?
Oh yeah, that would help, huh?
Yeah, you got us looking at a black screen.
I'm sorry,
Mr. Porter. It's so good. It's so good to have you back, Mr. Porter. I don't know how long we're gonna keep you, but it's good to have you back.
Yeah, I was looking back. It's been since before March, because March is when we had to go to Dallas for Norma's hip replacement, and we were there for about 3 months, and then we had a vacation that we had planned for 2 years, so we didn't want to miss that. So it's been since March, or maybe a little earlier. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, you found the article. I'm looking at the face, Mr. Porter. All those people that I just named were all sponsors of this. You've been hacked.
Okay. Okay, so the problem. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. I'm listening to what you said, Mr. Porter, and it's funny that you said what you said, because it says here in this post, it says in a post to its site, Alpha 5 ransomware claimed that it targeted the city. The group has also been source of previous local government hacks. Alpha 5 has previously stolen data from its victims, which it threatened to release it if they are not paid a ransom. City officials confirmed to KLB that there was a possible breach, but denied any information was stolen. A statement released by the city.
Well, yeah, that's also when you look up when you Google it and use the AI to summarize what happened, it says here that the city officials denied data theft at the time of the attack. City officials confirmed there was a breach, but denied that any information was stolen. However, the ransomware groups claimed that they exfiltrated data. That they exfiltrated data has created uncertainty regarding potential data exposure. So the city said that there was nothing stolen, but the group said that they did get it. They have it.
Now, our IT folks, they how can I say this diplomatically without coming off and sounding so negative and vindictive?
Damn.
So let me see. Okay, so
It says, can we be frank?
that's right. Thank you for reminding me of our core principles for the show. All right. Okay, well, I won't bite my tongue. Here it is. Our folks in IT, they were not very knowledgeable, okay? And they were not current on new technology, especially invasive technology. Our system was very, very old and easily vulnerable to attacks. And it didn't even have to be a group as sophisticated as Alpha 5. It could have been some folks in college, you know, things like that. But the thing is, we were ill prepared for this. And in the past, rather than trying to go out and hire folks, which would have been very, very expensive because so much of this was coming on, they couldn't find enough people, good people, to come into a little city like Alexandria, what we pay. So we had an insurance coverage. And what that insurance coverage would have done, it would have paid all of this to help get us back on track. Instead, we had to pay it. Okay. The other issue here is not only was our computer equipment very antiquated, our personnel was not very knowledgeable and up to date and current on the new developments and the new techniques for attacking your system. What our folks could not determine is what was taken, how it got, first of all, how they got in, how long they were in. We found out later after the contractors came, they were in there milling around our system since January. And after they locked everything up and got what they wanted, then they shut us down. Our folks was not able to identify if anything had been taken. They just didn't have that level of knowledge and expertise. I can tell you this, my personal information was never on the dark web before this attack. And after this attack, I told y'all I have a relative who is in this business. He took it upon himself to go check and found my stuff out there. And I gave him a few other names. He found their stuff out there too. They got all our information from the utility system. So they know addresses, they know your name, they know all kind of stuff. If you pay it with a check, they know what account you had at what bank. If you pay it with a credit card, they know what that credit card is. If you paid cash, they know that you paid cash. You know, they had everybody's information. Everybody, all 24,000 customers of the utility system, they had whatever the city had on those customers, Alpha 5 had. But our people were not able to determine if it was even taken. They just didn't have that level of expertise to be able to determine that. That's where that comment came from, that you know, no data was taken. They don't even know, and they couldn't figure it out.
Wow. Now there, Nat made a comment that I do remember being said. He said the one who made the suggestion to Jeff Hall was the one responsible for the breach. Remember, Marcotte knew about all the, he didn't work for the city.
Right. He had that, you know, he had stepped down because of the sexual harassment and shakedown that he tried to do on the Hispanic lady who was a contractor with the utility department. So they caused him to take a hiatus, but then he came back. Then Jeff Hall brought him back to help with the breach, brought him and Crutchfield back.
And
So,
we said allegedly that we believe this is what we, well, I'm not going to say we, I'm going to say me, believe that he never left, that he still had access to the, him and Crutchfield had access to the utilities. And somebody said, no, he couldn't have had. But that, for them to bring him back like that, sounded like he already had access to the stuff, to the utilities. And you got to remember, not only was the utilities hacked, your police department was hacked too.
Yeah, that was years earlier, right?
No, it was around, it was utilities and the, what's the name? That's what it was said. Jeff said it was both at the same time.
Oh,
it was utilities
with Alpha 5?
Yeah, that's what he said. It was him, and it was the police department, the fire department. All of those were all connected with the breach at the same time. It wasn't just the utilities.
And usually, now you see Alpha 5 is strictly after money. They have no political agenda. They have no philosophical agenda. They don't have a religious agenda. You know, they're strictly after one thing and one thing only, and that's money. Now, typically, they go after cities with a lot of money. You know, they went after New Orleans, and New Orleans was able to dodge that because they had dual systems. And the whole reason they had dual systems was because of what happened during Katrina, you know. And so they had two systems, and all they had to do was shut down the one that was hacked and keep on trucking with the other one. But these folks typically go after cities that have a lot of money. They, to be very honest with you, you know, we know that 25 million is a lot for us, but for Alpha 5, that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
And somebody had to tip them off and say, hey, you know, it's not a whole lot of money, but look at this antiquated system. You know, with just a little bit of time and effort, you could shake them down. You know,
did you guys have?
Because otherwise, Alexandria would have been flying underneath the radar.
Yeah, exactly.
Alpha 5, you know.
Yeah, and I believe that because you have more You have other cities probably a little bit larger than Alexandria would have had more, more money resources, in other words, to go after. Why Alexandria? That's why it didn't sound right when it happened. Why Alexandria? Out of all the cities.
Are you seeing what Mr. Mercer put in the chat?
Who put in the chat?
What?
Mr. Mark Mercer, the councilman out of Ball.
Okay, I put it up on the screen. Kinetics.
What did he say?
He said Kinetics was handling the city before, during, and after the hack. You just mentioned their name for that meeting. Interesting. So they were at that meeting. That's what he was talking about. The meeting you were talking about.
He's saying that Kinetics was handling the city's IT before, during, and after the hack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if they were actually running our IT system. We had, I'm sure they were. I know one thing. We had contracted them to do several things with the city website and also with our what is it called? Alex Connect system.
Mm-hmm.
So they did stuff for our website, for Alex Connect, and for some other things. So they had a lot of they had quite a few contracts.
A lot of footholds.
Yeah, quite a few.
Miss McCall, if you can, Miss McCall, can you check your email? I sent you the link that what I'm trying to. Ma'am, you're gonna have to. How long have you been doing podcasting, ma'am?
2 hours.
You seem pretty new at this.
You get ready.
Mr. Porter is a good presenter, and you're not doing right by him.
All right.
You're about to get slapped. You are about to get slapped.
No, it's important that it's important that we put this on full mass so we can have a concept of what was taking place and how prepared. Oh man, I can't put into words. I just found this, Mr. Porter. I literally just found this.
Okay.
They put on a whole entire 4-hour presentation in 2019, making people aware of the ills. The name of the program was literally "You've Been Hacked," and all the people that you say have everything to do. Kinetics was there, Red River Bank was there, that auditing firm was there. All the people that would know how much money we had and how to get to us were all there at that meeting.
So wait a minute. So what you're trying to connect together is the ideal that this You've Been Hacked came. Keep clipping through
the pictures. You're going to see how many people were there.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
They've even got that table right there, Mr. Porter. Those are the people you're talking about. That's the City of Alexandria's IT department at that time.
Okay.
And there's 5 people sitting there.
Who's that right there? The guy with the blue jacket on,
Each picture has a different caption.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, it sure does. You're right. Okay, this was Jonathan Payton of CMA Technology Solutions, served as the master of ceremony. You've Been Hacked, cybersecurity seminar, Thursday morning. Okay, hold up. Let me ask you something, Mr. Porter. So when did y'all get hacked? When did it happen?
In 2020. This happened in 2022. He said that.
Yeah, 2022. So January, they gained access to our system. And that was the same time that we switched over to Tyler Securities Network.
Mm-hmm.
So we got hacked 3 years after, close to 2.5, 3 years after they had this seminar.
This was on Jeff Hall. This was on Jeff Hall's way out. That's when we got hacked.
Yeah, but this seminar occurred in 2019. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. But this would have been when Jeff Hall first took office.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was November of that year.
Yeah, so he would have
Because
been
I
in
believe, if
office
I'm not mistaken, he got elected in what,
in
2018.
2018,
Okay.
And
November 2018.
so this was a
So
year later.
year
That's
later.
right.
Okay. So this is okay. I kind of know
Keep
what
flipping
you're
through the
going.
pictures, baby. Keep flipping through the pictures. You're going to be amazed.
Okay. So this is Lieutenant Colonel Paul Perron, Director of Cyber with Louisiana Air National Guard. Talks about Guard's response to an outbreak of ransom attacks in July that affected 5 parishes and targeted school systems during the You've Been Hacked cybersecurity seminar. Okay. Jeff Thieler, Senior Vice President and CEO of Red River Bank, discusses cybersecurity measures during You've Been Hacked cybersecurity seminar. Okay. I see some name CPA Tim Green of Allen Green Williamson LLP talks about an incident in which a phishing scam enabled hackers to steal more than 80,000 in fraudulent wire transfers. Green was one of the real world stories shared during the You've Been Hacked. Okay, and then Jennifer Forrest of Royal Martin shares advice on how to protect yourself from cyber threats during the You've Been Hacked cybersecurity seminar. So let me stop for right now. This is what's getting me. This is what's bothering me. Now, you had all these experts in the room, and we still got hacked. Something ain't right. Something ain't right, y'all. I don't care if it was 2, 3, 4 years later. Something don't sound right. Something ain't cooking right in the kitchen.
They had this seminar a year after he had been in office, and we got hacked a year before he left office.
Something ain't right here.
And
I want you to go back to the first picture, the picture of the room, of everybody in the room.
right,
Okay.
that's exactly what I was about to ask, because I'm trying to scan and see, was anybody from the city council in there?
No, oddly enough, not. No, is that the first picture? No, that's not the first picture. Keep going.
Yes, it is the first picture. Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Keep going. Keep going back.
Okay. I don't see a brown fit.
I ain't no conspiracy theorist. Now listen. Now I'm not no conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm like Nat. I ain't saying nothing but what I'm saying.
Something ain't right.
Who is that guy?
Be quiet. This is John Ball of Royal Martin talks about a situation in which a hacker was able to change an employee's direct deposit information and steal a paycheck. The story was one example of the real world incidents shared during the You've Been Hacked. Okay. Oh, Rebecca Morris of Payne, Moore and Harrington LLP tells attendees about how hackers can file false tax returns to claim refunds. That was just one of the real life stories shared during the You've Been Hacked. Oh, Adam Arsenal, Director of Security, CMA Technology Solutions. Were they part of the was they part of the team that was supposed to be helping? Mr. Porter?
You know, Jeff Hall wouldn't share that with us.
Mm-hmm.
We knew the contractors with the military was working to correct this, and the contractors with various federal agencies that had been hacked were also working on this. I don't know if there was some local firms or statewide firms that was working on this also. You see, Jeff Hall didn't share anything with us, with the city council. He came to us and he just wanted us to give him a check for $8 million to pay Alpha 5. And so he wouldn't share anything. He kept saying they can't talk about it because it's still under investigation.
Well, how are you going to ask money from your whole city council without giving them something to work with?
Exactly.
Mr. Mercer said that's what the whistleblower that was on Urbancast the other day said. I'm assuming he's saying what we're saying right now.
Okay. Matt Stroder
Um,
of Turner Telco of Alexander explains what is meant by dark web and the personal information that is available there.
there you go.
Okay.
There you go, Mr. Porter.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Josh Swinson, Chief Technology Officer at Kinetics, explains the need for businesses to have a tested backup and recovery plan, and that the plan during the you've been hacked cybersecurity. So wait a minute, Mr. Porter, Mr. Porter, Mr. Porter. Disagree with me if you want to. But you had all these expert people sitting in the room together, and they all got these way out stories and long stories and solutions. And City of Alexandria got hacked.
Yeah, we
Mr. Porter
didn't.
said, Mr. Porter said what he said his information along with others' information ended up on the where?
On the dark web.
Now, what is this guy's up there talking about?
What?
That
What
one
ended
prior
up
to
on the
him was talking about the dark web.
Right.
But this one right here says this. Listen to what the guy from Kinetics, that's why I believe Kinetics was one of those people that was working with them. Kinetics explains the need for businesses to have a tested backup and recovery plan.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew. Look, I could be wrong.
Now you see, all of them, that what he just described is what New Orleans did. Okay.
Yeah.
New Orleans had a separate, they had two separate systems. And if one got hacked, they'd shut it down and they run the other system.
So, okay. So that tells me that the IT people sitting in that room, didn't know what the hell they were doing because
They had to, Mom.
experts. No, I'm just saying it like that. You had experts in here giving you the plan on how to have a backup. So how did Alexandria, the City of Alexandria government, did not have a backup plan, especially specifically, if anything else, for your utilities? Your utilities is your revenue. Why would you let your revenue get hacked?
If you would have told me in 2019 that I'm at this seminar about you've been hacked, that the City of Alexandria a couple of years later would go on to get hacked, I would have not believed you. Not with all those people in that room.
No.
There's no way we should have got hacked with all those people in that room.
There we go. That's what I'm saying. That's what
including
I'm saying.
the National Guard.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about the military being there? The military is a constant target for these hackers, not just the sophisticated ones. I mean, even, I don't want to call them amateur ones, but the ones that's not as sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you have the ones from the foreign countries that tries to do it. You know, Russia, China, and other countries. The military is always getting hacked, always. And anytime they're there and they're giving you these recommendations, the City of Alexandria administration at the time and our IT department, they just totally ignored all of that information that was presented from an event that the city put on. So they didn't even take heed to that information. So what was the purpose of putting on that event? If they thought this information was valuable enough for local businesses and the citizens to heed this warning, the city failed to heed this warning themselves.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Now, the only alternative to what you're saying, Mr. Porter, is if it was coordinated.
Yeah. The only thing that I really suspect was actually decided as a strategy was that the city had decided we're going to abandon the insurance company that would come in and pay for all of this if we're hacked because it was too expensive. And they went to Tyler Security. And when they went to Tyler Cyber Security, that's when everything went downhill from there. And
whose suggestion was it?
I'm pretty sure that came from, even though, well, you know what? I don't know for sure. So I'm just suspecting that came from Marcotte and Crutchfield. Now, they were gone, right? They were gone at the time.
They supposed to be.
But the problem is that Jeff Hall was so joined at the hip with Crutchfield and Marcotte that even though they were gone, I have a feeling he was getting information from them because as soon as the hack became public, who were now sitting in these briefings? Crutchfield and Marcotte. Now they were gone, right? But all of a sudden they reappeared, they resurfaced, and they're right back in there. So
something ain't right.
Yeah, those are the things that really doesn't sit well.
It says impact of breach. Well, hold on. It says impact of the breach. Utility services affected. The attack primarily impacted the city's utility billing system. It blocked access to customer usage data, which prevented accurate utility. Why would they target the ability for them to see how much the customers are using?
Yeah, so that the bill can be created.
Now, that's not all they shut down on us. Okay?
No. It says estimated billing used for a period of this. Oh, wait. That's not all. That's not all. You're right. That's not all. Hold on. I got to keep going. Utility billing system, billing information. It attacked specifically targeted and disrupted the city's utility billing system. That this could include residents' names, homes, addresses, billing account information, and usage history. Employee information. Ransomware attacks often target internal servers, including human resource files. Similar attacks on the other government entities have resulted in, so they're talking about other municipal records.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick while you doing that real quick? Jason Ingalls, founder of CEO of Ingalls Information Security, talked about how businesses can design successful IT and cybersecurity management programs within their operation.
Mr. Porter, all the people that could have prevented this were in that room.
Was in the room.
But also, adversely, all the people that could have caused this are also in that room.
Tavares, you damn good.
Oh, they said to go ahead and take screenshots while you got it up there because that post might be gone really soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they might take that down. They might have forgot it was up there.
Because y'all, this is actually, like I said, this don't sound right. This don't sound.
The name of the seminar is called "You've Been Hacked." It was held at the City of Alexandria's Convention Hall.
Oh, it's
crazy. Let me add something else. With us discontinuing the insurance policy, going to Tyler Cyber Security. Once this was revealed, Cyber totally backed out in May. So we had Tyler Cyber Security from January until when this was identified in May, and Tyler just threw their hands up and said, "We're out of here," and that was it.
But
that
Mr.
was all
Porter,
she wrote.
I got a question, Mr. Porter, because what doesn't make any sense is how come we couldn't have picked, they say we like local, we love local. There's a ton of local businesses in that room right now.
Right. So to go back to a question you asked me before that you posed, I don't know whose recommendation it was to abandon the insurance company. But now understand, even with that insurance policy, that didn't do anything to prevent us from being hacked. It only would come in after the fact and pay for everything to clean it up and get us back up and going again.
Would that insurance policy have included safeguards to prevent it from being hacked?
I'm sure they had some requirements that we had to meet first before they would, give us coverage. And I don't know. I've never seen that contract, so I don't know what that insurance policy required. But yes, those are items in these policies that you can't just leave your safe wide open and then want us to cover you for theft. You have to have some kind of protections.
Oh, wait a minute! Look, Mr. Tyler, Mr. Porter. Mark Mercer said that according to what he could find on their website, Tyler Tech started handling government agencies in 2019.
Yeah, they were fairly recent. There were some persons that left another company and started up their own. Yeah.
In Texas.
Yeah, right.
In East Texas.
Tyler Cyber Securities, yes.
In East, we have a good connection with East Texas, y'all. City of Alexander does.
Yeah, and
Mr. Porter, I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the thing is, there were other communities that had Tyler, and they were hacked also. So our folks. Now, this is before we even switched to them. Okay, and our folks didn't even do their due diligence in checking, in vetting these companies.
And I believe that this was a company that was a buddy of somebody from here. That's what I believe that company.
Now, see, that's where I was going with it, because, like I said, all the people that could have prevented this are in the room. But adversely, all the people that could have done this are in the room.
Yeah. When you think about it.
So whoever referred Tyler Cybersecurity to the administration at the time, that was a very poor recommendation.
Exactly.
And
I think it was a very poignant, specific recommendation.
Yeah, and our administration and the four guys you're looking at sitting at that table, they didn't check this company out or look at its history or talk to some of the other municipalities that had Tyler Cybersecurity and were still hacked.
I bet you.
That's my mama. I don't know where you're going with this. I'm thinking if this was in 2019 and Tyler Cybersecurity just started taking up being able to do government agencies in 2019, and then for them to be the suggestion for you to drop your insurance and then go with these guys who just started 2 years ago. It's almost as if they got into the governmental agency business for things like this to happen. It was a pump and dump, if you will, like what they do with the crypto dollars, how they like the Trump dollar or whatever, the Trump Bitcoin. It's a pump and dump. It's worth a lot of money at first, and then they get out of it. This was
close to home. This is somebody from home that's connected to this Tyler Tech. This wasn't no person out the blue. This was somebody who was connected.
This was an inside job. What we've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, This was a connection, because you got to remember, we do a lot of business in East Texas. I listen to to your mayor a lot, and when they're talking about stuff, they mention East Texas a lot. A lot. There's a connection in East Texas. Matter of fact, and please correct me if I'm wrong, when they went to sell that, MISO finally let them sell a couple of pieces of some oil, some utility. Who did they sell it to?
Oh, when they had the energy on the grid,
Yes.
and
Who did
the
they sell it
surplus energy off the grid, yeah, they sold
Yep.
it to the company in East Texas.
Yeah, that was surplus excess credits. That
Mhm.
was stuff we had produced, electricity we had produced more than we should have,
Mhm.
and MISO sold it off the
Mhm.
grid. So that credit, a portion of that, of those proceeds, came to us not at cash, but as a credit. And so Marcotte turned around and sold it to East Texas company, electric company, because no doubt they were buying off the grid as well.
Mhm.
And so what happened is that they were able to take that money, those credits, and pay for either electricity they had already gotten from the grid, or at the future electricity. But you see, we could have used that ourselves also. But the problem was we produced more than what we were supposed to. MISO sold it. MISO was the ones holding it. They finally released it and gave it to us. But that means we would have been paying it right back to MISO, since we're part of MISO, right? So it's going from one pocket into the other pocket. And so this way, to bring money coming in and stop switching from pocket to pocket, they sold it to the East Texas consortium, or I forget what it was, and that was wrong. They really never should have done that. We should have sold that on the grid as well. We didn't have to sell our credits to somebody else. And I'm sure they paid pennies on a dollar for those credits. If we had sold it on the open market, the credits on the open market, it would have yielded a lot more money for us.
So we talking East Texas again.
Yeah.
Okay.
East Texas
what
is
this
pretty
means
good,
for the
right?
Alexandria.
East Texas is pretty big.
Well, I know that they have the company that they sold the credits to is a sizable company, and I believe they also are in the Tyler area. They cover Tyler, I would say, like that. It says city official statement at the time. City officials denied that any information was stolen and claimed that contradicted Alpha's tactics. While this public statement might have been made to reassure residents, it leaves the public unaware of whether a data leak occurred behind the scenes. What this means for Alexandria residents: the lack of a public data leak does not guarantee that no data was exfiltrated during the 2022 attack. The most probable compromised data includes information from the utility billing system, as it was directly affected. That's crazy, because you know how much stuff you need to get your utility bill started in Alexandria? You need a birth certificate, your social security card, a driver's license, and a blood sample. And they run your credit. The last part was true. They do run your credit.
I know. Most of the time, most utility companies do. But that's interesting.
That's interesting. This the whole layout is interesting.
Yeah, this was interesting. All the experts in the room, and we still got hacked.
And guess what? Because they said, because when he said it was under investigation, that removed this matter from all city council agendas.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he did. So it was
And-
never a conversation about it after that.
Yeah.
It could never be.
Anytime we inquired, and we did several times, they would only they would not answer. This was primarily Jeff Hall and Shane Williams, and they hid behind that veil curtain of it's an ongoing investigation. We cannot speak about it. Now, let me say something. Tyler Security was founded in 2002, and in 2019 that's when they branched into the government sector. Now, in between 2002 and 2019, they were acquired by another company, and that's when they changed their name to Tyler Technologies. Okay, and they were still going by Tyler Cybersecurity when we actually contracted with them. But they are owned now by a company called Tyler Technologies.
Okay, let me ask you something. Did y'all pay them before they left?
Oh yeah, we paid them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we paid them for the time that they were there from January to May, and they used the condition in the contract that either party can terminate this contract with a 30-day notice, and they took advantage of that, and we're out of here.
That, Mr. Porter, I know this. I'm sorry.
I got Greg Adler. I had to download the picture in order to look at who the people. David Berkeley, Greg Adler. Who else is sitting here? Gary Walker, and who's this other guy here? Looks like Keith Staples.
You talking about in the cybersecurity? You talking about
those are the IT people for the city of Alexandria at that time.
Mm.
And they all look pretty astute, Mr. Porter. Can you go to that picture, Mom?
Sure. Yes, sir. Whatever you ask for.
Ah, don't do that. Just hurry up.
Oh, boy, you want to get slapped. Oops.
They had a seminar called You've Been Hacked. All right, going from left to right in the light blue shirt is Greg Adler.
Okay, yeah.
The guy in the brown jacket looking like Neo from the Matrix is either Gerald or David Buckley, but it looks like David Buckley.
Okay.
And then the guy with his hands together is Gary Walker.
Yeah.
And the guy in the green shirt is Keith Staples or Stapleton. No, it says Staples.
Y'all, this is just so weird.
You ever heard of predictive programming?
Yeah. Yes.
Predictive programming is when they put something in your face and that way you're not as shocked when it really happens.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else. There are a lot of predictive computer programs that
that too
were kind of like a precursor to AI, a very early generation, and it would predict some of the things based on previous frequencies of occurrences and the particular situation. So, like, say, for instance, if every summer people's utility bills get higher, or people use more utilities, and they struggle to pay the bills. So the predictive program would let the city know how much short they would fall just based on that seasonal variation in utility usage. You know, so some of those programs we were using prior to this breach.
So
I
something
think we
new.
tripped over this rabbit hole.
This is weird.
It something is amiss to have this many people. And then Mr. Porter, what really makes it bad is that's everyone in the room that we could have been consulting with. Those are all consultants about being hacked. That's what this was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They assembled all of those folks together, and these folks shared their recommendations, and the city totally ignored all of that. So this was just to check off something on a list. Say, look, see what we did? City of Alexandria put on, you've been hacked.
But Mr. Porter, now that you're saying that, now I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Now that you're saying that, why is there a possibility that a class action suit against the city of Alexandria for the ratepayers be done? Because you had proof right here that they knew that could possibly happen and they didn't do anything about it. You tell me if I'm wrong.
I could see where a very diligent lawyer with a lot of time and enthusiasm could make a case against gross negligence on the part of the city of Alexandria, on the part of the administration.
Yes.
Because they certainly had knowledge of this. They knew this was a possibility. They knew it had happened to other municipalities. They also knew that they were vulnerable to this, and they did not act on it. They chose not to act on it and protect the city and the citizens from this type event.
Yep, there you go. All of them.
So when did Jacques Roy come up? When did he say he came up with the plan about? He said it was a year before he got elected.
Yeah. Oh.
What, for Restore?
Oh shit.
For Restore?
Yeah.
Was Mr. Porter in that? Was he here when he said that?
No. Jacques Roy literally said that.
He sure did.
He said that at one of his press conferences. He said about a year before I got back in office, we started working on the program.
The Restore program. Sure did. He sure said that.
Well, he introduced it the first week he was in the first city council meeting after he was sworn in. I was still on the city council because the two Johnsons was in a runoff for the seat, District 2 seat. So until that runoff occurred, I was still serving as council member. And
so what was that, November 2021?
Yeah, so that's right. So
Mr. Porter. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, so when he first introduced that, I was still on the city council. So those of you familiar with me and how I operate, I went through that and I had a bunch of questions. Well, what he did, Jacques Roy did, he pulled that from the agenda because I was still on the city council this following meeting because the election didn't occur until a month later, right? It occurred in December. Okay. So then after the winner was determined for District 2, that's when they swore him in, and then brought the restore back with my replacement, and that's when they passed it. But he pulled it from the agenda that second meeting that I was there because I'd asked too many questions the first meeting.
So, so if he had started working on the restore program a year before the election, and the election was in 22, that means he had been working on this since 20 or 20, well, since 21.
Right.
He sure said.
And when was the breach?
The breach was what, January of 22?
June.
June is when they shut us down. Okay, June is when they shut down payroll. They shut down accounts receivable. We couldn't receive any money. They shut down our bill paying. We could not pay invoices, and they shut down utilities. We couldn't bill anybody or collect money for utilities.
Now, Mr. Porter, you're gonna hold on to your hat when I say this. If what Jacques Roy is saying is true, he had already developed the restore program before the city was ever breached.
He said that. He said that they start working on it.
If the election was in November of 22, and he said this is recently, like maybe earlier this year or late last year, where he opened up his mouth and said he had been working on the restore program a year before the election was even had, which means that it would have been at the earliest or at the latest, it would have been November of 21. If we didn't get hacked till early 2022, he already had
something in place.
The restore program, but why would you need a restore program if it wasn't compromised?
So remember, restore was to try and help people who were delinquent in their utility bills, right? Now, after COVID hit, and there was a moratorium on disconnects because it could make the public health situation worse if people didn't have electricity to cook and do things, or water running to their house, warm water to disinfect things, you know. So that would just complicate things with this virus that was throughout the country. So there was a disconnect. There was a moratorium. You could not disconnect anybody for not paying their bills. All right. So many people, once they fully understood what that meant,
they didn't pay their bills.
In the latter part of 2019, they just stopped paying their utility bills, didn't pay anything. You might remember in May of 2019, the city council members held, now this was the blacks because the whites wouldn't join us with this. We had a press conference on the steps of the city council building, and we urged people to continue paying their electric bills because we knew once the moratorium was lifted that they would be cut off immediately. So we encourage people, keep paying your bills. Don't ride this moratorium, because when it comes due, all of it's going to be due at the same time. And if you can't pay it, you're going to be cut off. All right. A lot of people did not heed our warning. As we moved into 2020, they continued still not paying bills. And it got to the point where we were like $2 million in arrears that was owed to the city from the utility customers that we had. And when the moratorium was lifted in 2020, That was the situation. Folks were so far behind, there was no way they could catch up. And then in 2022, we were hacked. So if Jack Roy say he was working on Restore in 2021, that means he had access to how far behind people were as a result of 2019 and 2020. And he would have known that, and in 2021 start putting together a program. But at the same time, he was the largest portion of that money was from the CLECO settlement that went unclaimed.
That's right.
And he knew about it, but Jeff Hall, who worked for CLECO during that settlement, some kind of way Jeff Hall didn't know that there was still $3.5 million of unclaimed money the city was holding, because he certainly could have used that,
Okay, so
leaving it for Jack Roy to come and claim.
Because Jack Roy never left that office. Like I said from the get-go, when Jeff Hall got in there, and I said what I said, you guys have an opportunity. If he don't do right, you can always recall him. Jock never left. And I said that through the whole time he was in office. Jock never left, because all the things he were doing was something Jock would do. So he never left. He was getting advice from Jock. Jock had his hand. Jock knew about this breach. He knew from one end to the other end about this breach, because if nobody was keeping him informed, Michael Marcotte and Crutchfield was keeping him informed on every step that was taken with this breach. Okay. Yeah. So it was easy for him to come along and blame Hall for it, because he already knew what happened, because he does not like to be out of the loop of what's going on. Marcotte was telling him everything that was going on. Now, if you said all what you just said about that coming from the COVID and the moratorium, and you just said something that was very key. You said they had $3 million that they could have covered and cleared everything up, and people could have started from scratch, right?
And $3.5 million unclaimed from the CLECO settlement, right?
Okay. So there was no need for anybody to pay back the city. If there was no need for no payment plan, if they would have wiped them people bill out. That wasn't a restore. Because the people wind up having to pay it back, because he turned around and said at the end of that whole restore, well, we did better than what we thought we did. We got all the money back.
Hold on. Listen. So October 24, 2022, October 2024, I'm sorry, last year.
Not just public officials, but the community to be armed with the information to say, stop telling fibs.
New tonight, Alexandria Mayor Jacques Roy held one of his mayoral briefings today. The mayor discussed things ranging from the Greater Alexandria Economic Development Authority to the city's financial status. However, the bulk of the briefing centered on Restore. Jay McCulley spoke with the mayor and has more.
Restore was designed to say, hey, look, a lot of things led to this. What this administration wants to do is make sure that we don't add to people's problems at home, but that we help them dig out of this.
Mayor Jacques Roy says Restore gave a one-time grant off the top of what residents owed, and that they never had to pay it back. Roy says Restore also allowed residents to catch up to their current bill, and that the leftover balance was amortized over time. Roy says misinformation led some Alexandria residents to miss out on these funds.
Not enough people applied because they were being fed a line.
During the briefing, the mayor made an effort of transparency amongst his constituents.
I would encourage people to watch today's Halloween briefing by my office online, and you can see my bill unpacked live before your eyes with all the math there, just supporting what we've been saying.
Roy says the city's utilities are back on track.
A year and 3 quarters in, the city's financial state is excellent, and we're proud to have been able to do that with our council.
In Alexandria, for News Channel 5, I'm Jay McCulley.
Which that directly contradicts what Thomas David said.
Oh, that was in 2024.
That was not even a year ago. He said all this.
That was Halloween. He said Halloween.
Yeah.
Go back and look at his presentation from Halloween so that's October 31st, 2024. And he said the city is back on track and it's in excellent shape. The finances are.
That was October 31st, 2024.
And here we are, August 31st, 2025, and we're in very poor shape and we have to increase the utility rates.
Oh, man,
So-
we cracked the code.
So
We
what
cracked the
happened
code.
in
See,
9
Mr.
months?
Porter?
Go ahead,
I
Mr.
love it when
Porter.
Mr. Porter comes around. We cracked the code. We cracked the code. That restore, it was something up with that restore program that was, he's saying that all the misinformation that other people were putting out, but there was no misinformation because the information was limited on the restore program. If you remember at the initial of it, it was limited information available.
Right.
We couldn't even tell you what the restore program was because it meant so many things to so many people.
And look, one of the questions I had, you know how I mentioned that Jack Roy, the first city council meeting after Jack Roy was sworn in, he introduced the Restore program. And I read it and I had a bunch of questions. But one thing in there was that you could not request a report, an accounting of the Restore program. They actually had written that into the ordinance where you couldn't question Marcotte and you couldn't question Jack Roy or anybody about the Restore program, and that the city council could not demand a report.
Sure did. I remember.
So
that.
you were never going to find out what the situation was. And
Hold
then,
on. I'm sorry. Check your inbox, Miss Alita.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Porter.
And then, a follow-up meeting, a city council meeting, he stated that Restore was not going to be available for businesses. And in the ordinance, it definitely said that. And that's when Marcotte corrected him at that city council meeting and said, oh, no, the businesses will be part of it. So one hand didn't know what the other hand was doing. Okay. And then later on, if you fast forward several meetings, several months, there was a meeting when people were showing their utility bills, because even we Can We Be Frank, we got like 3 bills from people that showed that they had to pay back the Restore. And so if you had to pay it back, it was not a grant, it was a loan. And if it was a loan, it wasn't a loan that you asked for. And one of the persons had never filled out an application for Restore, and they were given that, and they had to pay it back. And if they were 2 months late in paying it back, they got disconnected. And it was something they had never asked for. So
Exactly.
this stuff he's talking about is just not true, because we have persons who shared their bills with us, and we saw how far they were behind. They shared their personal information with us, their financial status, and right there was Restore that was being added as the repayment, But even Jack Roy in that excerpt mentioned that it's amortized over a period of months. That means they took the total Restore that they gave to them in February or March, and they divided it by 6, and they over the next 6 months they charged the people to get that money back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what amortization is, so that's a loan. That's not a grant. That's a loan.
That's right.
You don't amortize grants because grants are not paid back.
But he said this too, Mr. Porter. He also said this too. He said that people who were behind on their bills, but that didn't make any sense because everybody was behind on their bills. Majority of the people were already behind on their bills. So when you went after the people to make them pay it back, they would have been included in the people who was behind on their bills.
Everybody was behind on their bills because of the breach.
Yeah.
Now that's right. So you had 2 things at work there. You had the folks who stopped paying their bills during COVID, while the moratorium was in place. Yeah. Then you had the folks who were behind because the city billing system was totally locked down, so they could not send out bills to people. Okay, and folks were saying, okay, well, I didn't get a bill this month. I'm not paying anything. I'm not going to pay until you send me a bill. And so you had 2 things working against folks. You had stuff from 2020, the end of 2020, that was carried over, and you had the things that happened as a result of 2022.
Yeah. And the people wound up having to pay that off. The people that should have never taken place. And again, if you had that $3 million, there was no need to accumulate or get that money back because that money was, why was you trying to get back money? It was coming back to you either way it goes. So are you saying they wind up with $6 million or $7 million? What did he say? I think he said they came up with 11 million altogether. Remember when he said after all that happened, they wind up with $11 million paid back into the utilities? Do y'all remember that?
if you at one, make sure you read Mr. Mercer's statement down at the bottom of the screen.
It says,
and 2, check your email inbox.
Email
for the link I just check your email inbox for the link I just sent you, and I would like for you to play that. Okay. But Mr. Mercer brought up something else, Mr. Porter, that Jock did go down to Baton Rouge to lobby to make sure that no matter, even if with a Freedom of Information Act, even if you had one, you wouldn't be able to get certain utility information.
Yeah, he said, because this is what he said. He said if they were in a deal, if they were about to make a deal or put a bid down on something with the utilities, that you're not allowed during that time to ask any questions about the utilities. And you couldn't.
But they don't have to tell you if they're in a real bid or not. They could just say they're in a bid. You know what I'm saying?
Keep you from
keep you from getting it. No, not requesting it. You can request it, but if they tell you, well, we're in the middle of a negotiation, they don't have to prove that to you. Yeah. They can just say it.
And he went down there and had that sign, and it passed.
And that's why I was trying to tell everybody you needed to do a FOIA request prior to September, because if that bill did pass, starting September would be the time frame where you wouldn't be able to get that information anymore.
It's too late now because it's already September.
Yeah. Well, it's September 1st.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Well, we're always a day late and a dollar short, and we got to change that. We have to definitely change that.
Okay. Hold up. Let me see what.
Yeah. Can you play that clip for me?
Yes, sir. Give me a second. Why you keep putting the same clip over? Be quiet for a minute.
Excuse me. I want to thank our guest, Mr. Porter, for coming by. I really do. Like, he's not a guest, he's family. But at the same time, I know he could be doing other stuff. And I want to say how much I appreciate him.
Well, I look, the feeling's mutual. I'm just sorry. So many things got in the way. So many personal things got in the way this year. This entire year has been thrown off for me. So I'm trying to get back on track. This last quarter, September, October, November, December, I'm trying to get right back on track.
And you will.
Well,
You will.
we will.
Okay, wait a minute. Let
Full,
me
put it on full max for me.
Harvested many new
Wait,
ways of
Like old
Mister?
boy say, oh, yeah. Oh boy, like put it on full max for me.
Generations. Forests are more than just trees. They're one of the
And what's
world's
sad
most
about
renewable
what's about to be
resources.
shown, I
Managed
remember that.
responsibly.
And
Clean air and water.
this
They
just
help
shows
make thriving
how
land, forests,
sometimes we are our own
Here's
worst
Roy,
enemy.
Councilman
Yeah.
Reddix Washington, join us today for a little chat. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Of course, of course. So, tell us what y'all are working on over at the City of Alexandria for the holiday season for 2023.
Well, we are in the middle of this 100-day plan that is, a lot to get going on, but there are some things even within it. We kind of have it broken down in 30-day increments. Reddix has been championing one part of it that is near and dear to a lot of people, and that is working on some of these problems with utilities. And that is very pronounced, especially this time of year.
Okay, well, so when you say problems with utilities, what do y'all mean?
Well, there was a situation where, due to a confluence of lots of things, I would say, but there was from meter reading to a breach of the city's cybersecurity to many other things, not getting the bills out, et cetera. The city is faced with a whole bunch of people who have long cycle bills. So we're talking 100+ days. People on fixed income and others just can't handle that. And Rex probably gets a lot of calls, as do I, about that.
Yeah, and so the biggest thing I've been telling people is help is on the way. I guess now we can say help is right around the corner. And so we're just moving forward to handle one of those things within the new mayor's 100-day plan.
Now, is there a plan in place, or are y'all still working on that plan?
There's a plan in place. In fact, we're going to go from here, Natalie, to a special meeting today and be adopting the rest of what's called Project Restore, RESTOR. And that project is about getting help to people, getting bills separated from these longer cycled out bills to let people have a reset and get it straight. The city also needs to do this. We have to sort of audit, for lack of a better word, the way that this has occurred and just fix it. But what we want to make sure is that people are not panicked and worried about that, especially during the holiday and especially during this way more than a cold snap we're about to go through. So that's the other thing I'll be doing today is working on preparing the city with my team for what could be some significantly cold weather that we're not used to here.
Right. And just having a backup plan in place too, for what happens if it is kind of detrimental,
Yes.
just that really, really cold weather coming through. Reddix, tell me, what are some of the things you've been hearing from your constituents about their complaints with the past or recently utility issues?
Well, we've had a breach, which was a situation that we went through. We went through COVID. So, people are already playing catch up, and now it's been just a longer process of being able to catch up. And so we've been working hand in hand with the administration on a way where it's not this survival mode that people are living in, but where we can get things back to normal. And, one of the things you're always going to hear from me is moving forward, so we can quit worrying about the past. But a lot of people have called saying, they've received cutoff notices, the bill was read wrong, or they never got a utility bill. And so just trying to clean everything up and get it going forward is the biggest thing that I'm so excited about, and constituents are so excited about. And we just want to keep getting that word out there: restore, restore, restore.
And so what do y'all want people to know who are watching, who maybe have gotten that, astronomical, like $3,000 utility bill, and have kids and just holidays, everything to really prepare for, and they're, probably very worried right now? What would you like for them to know?
They're not being cut off. So we're going to get through this season. They need to focus on family and taking care of their children. One of the things we immediately did now was, if you will, arrest the old part so that that's not following them right now. We're going to in the next 30 days come to where they sort of start anew, and then we'll deal with the past due. We also know that a bunch of them are just wrong. They were either read in error or they estimated wrong, and that all has to be corrected. So the thing to tell people is follow the process that you were given in the previous administration in terms of appealing or whatever. Make that notice known. But I've already instructed our people. They're not the cutoffs that normally happen under ordinance in the city have been suspended right now while we work through this. And that's not to tell people, don't worry about it, don't ever pay bills. It's to say, we're going to work through what got us in this problem right now and fix it first. And then at some point it becomes normative time again. And people need to pay bills and people need to focus on it. But I can't have people worried. Rex can't have people worried in this holiday season about stuff that was not their fault.
Right.
And that's the important thing.
Right. Great. Well, it's great to hear you say that too. Okay. So looking past utilities,
Yes.
what will be the next issue to tackle?
Well, all throughout this, the biggest issue has been public safety, and we work on those things every day. We have a sort of a task force, if you will, that works on policy issues and changes that we want to make there every day.
Okay, that's enough.
And I think
They moved on.
past that.
Hold up.
I think
So-
that's the number one issue.
What's really interesting is his uses of words. He said, why have them worry about things that aren't their fault? So that takes the back billing part out of it. Like that takes the non-payment out of it, because that is their fault if they're purposely not paying their bill. But the only thing he could be referencing is the data breach.
Basically.
Listen, hey, Miss Linda, I saw something popped up. And,
Yeah, it was Miss Linda
Mr.
saying
Mercer,
hi.
I've never met you, but thank you. I appreciate the comment. Here's one of the things we can all be thankful about is that Reddix Washington is no longer in office.
Woo! Woo!
Because for him to sit there and play the role of a stooge for Jack Roy, and to say that he's never really did anything of consequence for his district, the city, or whatever, and then allow himself to be used as a pawn in this game and this scam of Restore. Now, the mayor contradicted himself many times. I don't know if you picked up on this, but if you remember, he blamed Jeff Hall, and I'm going to be straightforward, rightfully so, that after COVID and moratorium, a lot of people just did not pay their utility bills. When the moratorium was lifted in May of 2020, Jeff Hall was being very conscientious of people, and he did not disconnect folks. He did not go ahead and cut people off during that part of the rest of 2020. He tried to let people get back on their feet. And for all the time during COVID that they didn't pay, he didn't come right out and cut them off. He gave them about 6 months, in some cases 9 months. Jack Roy criticized Jeff Hall bitterly for showing that compassion to the citizens, because it severely impacted the city finances. Okay. And so in one case, Jack Roy is right. Jeff Hall did not pursue payment and disconnect to force people to pay. And also he let it go on for an extended period of time. But then Jack Roy comes here in 2022, and he is stating the same thing. We're not going to cut people off right now. There's a cold spell coming. it's the holidays. We're going to try and let them get back on their feet. Well, he's doing the same thing that Jeff Hall did, but he criticized Jeff Hall for doing the exact same thing that he did.
Yeah.
But we all knew, and we talked about this on the show, we all knew that was going to be short-lived. And at the time, my prediction was in March, they were going to start cutting people off left and right. Well, it went a couple of months later, but
And
that
it was
great
in
big disconnect, it came. And it came
in May.
like a wave. Yeah. And it just cut people off left and right. But so he contradicted himself there. What he criticized Jeff Hall for, he did the exact same thing. The other contradiction in his statement was, we're going to cut things off at the arrears. That means everything people owed that they have not paid, everything that was in the back, in the rear view mirror that they just hadn't paid, and we're going to start over. We're going to reset is the term he used. Well, that was not the case. He did not forgive people's bills. And by the way, the bond commission requirements for all those bonds that he floated in 2013 and 2014, you cannot give anyone free electricity. Okay? You must charge for the electricity because that's what the bond issues were based on. Were based on you bringing in revenue for your utilities. So you cannot give it away free. Now, if we were not under these bond restrictions, and we can, as a municipality, we can do what we want with the money, okay, or with the utilities, but we're not. We're limited, and we are tied down to the restrictions and the requirements of the bonds. So,
and see, I'm glad you said that, Mr. Porter, because when you think about it, you said, okay, so you said you took 3.4 million or whatever from the utilities, right? I mean, from CLECO, right?
Right.
That was unclaimed property. So that would have wiped out everybody's bills. There was no need, right? Okay. So really, there was no need for them to ask people to pay back that money because you were wiping it out. No, you did that to pay to put more money back into your pocket because you wouldn't have benefited if you just wiped out their bills. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't have benefited.
Yeah. Well, let me add something to that. So, after the first year, when people because of the moratorium and people were not paying their utilities, we were like $2 million in arrears. Okay. Yeah. So if we had used the settlement, the leftover, the unclaimed settlement from the CLECO case, that would have that 3.5, 2 million of that could have been used in 2000.
To wipe people out.
Yeah, yeah. So look, let me clarify something. So the city of Alexandria fiscal year is from May 1st to April 30th. So when we reach April 30th of 2020, we were 2 million behind in collections on utilities. Okay. So at that point, if we had used the unclaimed settlement money, that would have left us with 1.5 million. But now in May of 2020, that's when the moratorium was lifted. So we could actually cut people off if they didn't pay, if they were 90 days behind. But Jeff Hall was showing some compassion, and he did not enforce that. So folks went all through 2020 still not really paying. And then to make matters a little bit worse, he wasn't very strict on that in 2021. And that is what Jack Roy criticized Jeff Hall for not going after and collecting that money. Now, there was something you said at the very onset of the program tonight, is that whenever the city has finished the year owing something for utilities, what we do is that the very next January, we take that amount of money that was uncollectible, okay, that essentially that we wrote off. We will never really get this money back. We take that and we divide it among our existing clients, customers, and we had about 24,000 customers. And so in the case of that 2 million, we took that $2 million, divided up among the 24,000 people, and added that to their bill. Okay. And it's all part of a formula that we calculate, that we use to calculate folks' bills. And that's done. That is what's called a reconciliation. And that's done every year. And it's to take the money that's owed to the city, that is uncollectible, that we feel we cannot collect on. We have to pay and account for it. So like you pointed out at the beginning of the program, the remaining customers are the ones who pick up that tab. So if your neighbor doesn't pay their bill, a year later, you're going to pay a portion of that bill for your neighbor.
Exactly. So there was really no.
I'm looking at hold on, real quick. I'm looking at an article from the Rapides Parish Journal. Jim Smiley, in November 29th of 2023, wrote, once again, tempers flared as residents were told by City Council President Lee Rubin that they could not make comments on issues during Tuesday's meeting of the Alexandria City Council meeting. And while addressing a comment from a resident, Alexandria Mayor Jack Roy said his administration has been dealing with demonstrable malfeasance from the administration of former Mayor Jeff Hall. Roy's remarks came after a question asking about auditing city spending. Roy noted the city audit for the year ending in April 30th, 2023 was released earlier this month and cited significant issues in the way the utility system was managed by the Hall administration in regard to delinquent accounts. They have a link to the audit. Roy noted he considers Hall a longtime friend and said he has been reluctant to publicly criticize his administration, which doesn't make sense because Hall's administration was Roy's administration.
Sure was.
Yeah, he says, I try to be polite and respectful, Roy said, but noted that when speaking to the council, he needs to be candid in his remarks. When asked for details regarding possible malfeasance, Roy said residents should read the audit report. So he says it's demonstrable malfeasance. That means it's provable. If it was so provable, why didn't you prove it?
Yeah, he never. But the thing is, what he's saying is correct. Jeff Hall did not pursue trying to get the money back from folks. He was demonstrating some compassion. Now, this malfeasance, if Jack Roy is referring to the fact that you didn't pursue getting the money back, if he's considering that malfeasance, or if he's actually considering that something else was done, aside from that. So he didn't explain himself, right? And once again, he didn't produce any evidence about that either. So Jack Roy is really contradicting his own self and his own practices again and again, time and time again. Let me answer a question that Nat posted on the screen. The federal government, the ARPA funds that Joe Biden had put forward, that money came to the city, and most of it was used for overtime, payroll and overtime for the police department, for fire, and for some other things. So a lot of that money was used up that way. I had petitioned for the money to be applied to infrastructure, for drainage improvement and flood protection. And Jeff Hall, he definitely vetoed that, along with the other, the only people that voted for it was Cynthia Perry and Catherine Davidson. But the others voted against it. So, the money was not designated for utilities. It was just money that could be used for a host of applications. And Jeff Hall chose to use it for police, fire, and some other salaries and overtime. So that's where
prior to the meeting, District 1 Councilman Reddix Washington requested an update from the administration regarding funds the city received from the American Rescue Plan Act in the Community Affairs, Services, and Events Committee meeting. Specifically, the administration was asked to report the total amount of funds awarded to the city, the amount that has been allocated to date, and any remaining funds at the deadline to use the funds. Mayor Roy said the city received a total of $11,290,002 in ARPA funding, that all the money has been used. The deadline for the use of the funds was December 31st, 2026. Roy said the city received the funding in 2 equal payments of $5,645,001. The first was received July 15th in 2021 and was used to fund a number of capital projects in the utilities department. Projects included a 24-foot Kisatchie bypass water line addressing copper corrosion in the water system and replacing the HVAC system in the utility customer service building on Murray Street. The second allocation was received on August 8th of 2022. Roy said roughly $3 million was spent on purchasing new vehicles for the Alexandria Police Department. Roy said hardly any new vehicles were purchased for APD in the preceding 4 years, and that was more than 50 cars had to be purchased at once for the fleet. The remainder of the money was used to replace lost revenue, Roy said. Washington asked, lost revenue? He did put it back in the utilities.
I told you.
Yeah. And, so I say it, employee police overtime. So it must have went, I probably was wrong on that. It must have went to the cars, to the vehicles, the 50 new police cars.
And at the same time, you have a utility problem going on and you had a drainage problem going on.
Right.
But this was before he told everybody that it was their fault that the water was brown.
Oh my God.
Right. And look, let's remember something else. So it was around that time that our bond rating was dropped, right?
Yeah, it was dropped around
the
that time.
AA. And you remember who he laid that at the feet of?
Who?
He laid that at the feet of the citizens because they're not paying their utility.
Yeah, sure did.
You remember that?
That big
I
grant
do now.
he did.
Yeah.
Washington asked if there were any unallocated ARPA funds available that could be used for city needs, and Roy responded, the funds are 100% allocated and obligated. He didn't say that they were all gone. He just said, you're not going to, whatever's left, you're not getting any of it.
Yeah, he said we decided where it's going, and even though we haven't used it yet, there's nothing left.
You're not getting it. Yeah, don't worry about it. You can hang it up.
Wow.
That's why I enjoy taking these looks back because that was an article from 23. What you're seeing on the screen is from what year, what month and date was that?
Let's see. Hold up. Let me see.
Well, this would have been, you're talking about what's on the screen right now?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be December 2022.
So yeah, we're going back in times. Now, Mr. Porter, you can cut your camera off when I say this. This looks like, and it sounds like, everything that Mr. Porter has said would indicate that Jock Roy is and always has been a liar. I can understand misspeaking a few times. I can understand being misquoted a few times, but we've watched Jock in his own words literally lie. He lied on that October thing about the Restore program and the financial fiscal condition of the city, just to have Thomas David turn around and say, we're doing horrible, guys. 9 months later, 9 months, not even a full year.
He sure said it.
So Jock is a liar. The people that surround Jocks are liars, because that's the only people that can hang. Like, there's not going to be any truth tellers around the main liar, right? That's like asking for somebody in Trump's administration to call him out on his bullshit. It's not going to happen. They're not. They're loyal to Roy.
Mm-hmm. Got a lot of yes men.
Got a lot of yes men, and I want to connect that with this, because we do have to let Mr. Porter go. But this upcoming election, right? This election that's taking place in right around 12 months. He's already campaigning. He's already doing this smiling and the laughing shit with the current council. He's already making cover stories and getting people like Thomas David, who knows nothing about utilities, to give entire presentations on the utilities. He's already trying to get your bonds renewed and these taxes renewed before time. So there's a number of things that he's doing out in the open that would lead you to believe that he's been doing the money, him, and mind you, the person that's responsible for all this is Michael Marcotte and David Crutchfield.
Mm-hmm.
And who hired them? Jock Roy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing our audits now? The same people that's been doing audits for 25 years.
No, they got a new person, but I think they brought them back. They did bring.
They brought them back.
Yeah, that was one of the first things he put forward at the very first meeting, because you see, it was Joe Fuller who, first of all, it's the city council's authority to select the auditors, and because the city council controls the money. So the city council controls the audits. And it was Joe Fuller who said, okay, we're getting rid of Payne and Harrington because they've been here for 20 years. And the legislative audit procedures is that we change auditors every 5 years. And so that's when we change. So when Jock Roy came back into office, we had only had the other auditors for 4 years. Yep. And that's when he changed them back to Payne and Harrington.
And why is that? Why would you bring back? Because he wound up bringing back he brought back the whole loyalist key.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that's very unique to this situation, right? Payne and Harrington, if there was any misdeeds that were being done during Hall's administration, Payne and Harrington would know. If there was any misdeeds that were being done during Jock's administration, Payne and Harrington would be the ones that know.
Yeah.
And this is long term. This isn't like temporary. This was long up until Mr. Fuller and Mr. Porter and them changed auditors, right? And that was only temporary. I think that what they did like 2 years in.
Oh, I think they got 3. They got 3 years.
3 years
before we were able to change them.
You see,
Now here's something else. That very first audit by the new auditors is what led to Crutchfield leaving.
damn.
That very first audit by the new auditors is what led to Crutchfield resigning.
And then remember, Mr. Porter, that y'all kept telling telling Hall to get rid of Marcotte. He waited 18 months later to get rid of Marcotte.
Well,
He didn't
actually,
wait. He was told not to get rid of Marcotte. He didn't wait. He was told, you bet not.
Well, here's the thing. You know, as a city council person, you cannot recommend the hiring or firing of anyone that reports to the mayor. So we never did say get rid of Marcotte. But now what the biggest mistake that Jeff Hall made, and it was a crucial mistake, and it doomed his administration from day one, is that he did not get rid of any of Jock Roy's appointees.
He was never
the ones that left, they left on their own. He did not get rid of any of them.
Now,
that was his downfall right there.
Me and Mr. Fuller had that conversation, and that was one of the things he definitely talked about was they need to get rid of Marcotte. And
wait. Why wouldn't you? If you're a new mayor, why wouldn't you? Jock Roy definitely did that when he came in. Well, he didn't have to because most of them were still there.
Yeah, everybody that he had in place was already still there. He was already still there.
So they were still reporting to him. He never left.
Yeah, but the ones that Jeff Hall did have there, he got rid of. Jock Roy got rid of them.
Yeah,
right, the police chief. He got rid of the police chief.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He got rid of the police commissioner. He got rid of any of the positions, HR.
Yeah.
You know, he got rid of any of Jeff Hall's appointees. He got rid of.
But that's the normal process of what happens when you get a new mayor in. They go through and see, unless they're civil service workers, you can't get rid of them. But if they're appointees or people that came, just came on a regular basis, yeah, you can do that. I remember.
Wait, folks. I'm sorry, Mama. I just thought about this. You have your cabinet and your administration in mind before you even run.
Yeah, you have everybody you want in place. Yeah.
So why wouldn't he have changed unless
he was told not to?
Unless he never had unless he never picked the administration, because why wouldn't you pick your own administration?
He knew he was only doing 4 years. He was already told by Jock that, hey, leave my people,
I'm trying to separate him and Jock, but I can't.
But you can't. You can't. Because I kept telling you, I said, if you watch what he's doing a lot of Jock moves. That when Mr. Porter, when he went after y'all and had y'all in court, that was a Jock move. That wasn't a Jeff Hall move. Right. That was a Jock move.
Yeah, because
Jeff Hall wouldn't have known to do that.
Right. Jock Roy had done that before in the past.
He did that before. Yeah. He did it with the old administration. Yeah. I mean, the city council. He did it back in the day. I remember when I very first started listening to the city council, it was during the time when they had the city council in court. Jock Roy had them in court. I remember that. That's a Jock Roy move. That's not a Jeff Hall move.
Right.
That's why I said Jock never left. He never left. That's why.
So Jock was actually running. You're saying that Jock was actually running Jeff Hall's administration.
You say whatever way you want to say it, he never left. And I kept saying that through the whole time that Jeff was in the office, because all the little things Jeff was doing, that wouldn't have been Jeff doing that. That was Jock telling him to do that. Just like Jock told David to stand up there and tell us about it. And did you know that Jock left when Cure was talking, when David and him was talking? He got up and left because he turned around when he was looking for him. He said, "Oh, the mayor gone." The mayor packed up and left because he didn't want to hear, because he had already lied and said that they were doing so great with the utilities. When what's the name? David stood there and just basically just blasted. He uncovered everything. You know, when we say open up the curtain, he opened up the curtain and exposed everything about the budget with the utilities, the whole thing. Told everything that we have been saying. He verified. He confirmed it about the utilities. And Jock lied 2024. He lied and said everything was in excellent condition. No, how can you be in excellent condition and then you just having a meeting with your cure board telling them no, it's not, unless he's saying that so he have an excuse to raise the rate. But they've missed out on, like I said about that grant. I think it's called the watershed grant, and the reason why he said, this came out of his mouth, the reason why Alexandria was not able to apply, they did not qualify, is because they didn't have in their package that they were planning on increasing the rates, because that's what it was based off of. Them 15% of it something had to be where they were talking about increasing the rates, and that conversation hadn't been had yet. That came out of his mouth. You can go back and watch it's on the City of Alexandria. It's on YouTube. If they didn't remove it, it's right there on YouTube. But we did a show about it, and we broke it all the way down. Everything.
So wait a minute. How can Roy accuse Jeff Hall of being a malfeasance when it was his administration?
It was his whole administration, but he was in charge.
Then that means that Jock Roy set him up.
Well, I was getting ready to say that. Listen. This reminds me of when Mayor Thompson was in office, and they didn't want Mayor Thompson to be over Jonesboro, and everybody in there sabotaged him. Matter of fact, a lot of people packed up when he became the mayor, because he was the first Black mayor. When he became the mayor, lots of them packed up and left. When he first became the mayor, because he was the first Black mayor of Jonesboro. Sure did. And then when he got reelected, they really went after him when he got reelected, because they didn't want him in that position anymore. They didn't want him there from the get-go. But when he got reelected, that's when they revved it up more. I sat in the courtroom when he was going through his trial. So I'm just saying, that's what it reminded me of. And I'm glad you said that, because that's what it reminded me of.
So Jock used Jeff to do what? Because the first thing Jeff did was have a "You've Been Hacked" meeting at City Hall. Then he got hacked on the way out. And the whole time, the administration never changed. Those were all Jock's IT people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to say that Jock Roy was actually the one that orchestrated all this for the sake of using the Restore program, for the sake of getting a hold. I don't know what the profit margin was.
But you got to remember,
because even if he would have did all this, how much was the profit?
Okay, that's what I'm ready to say. Remember, he said, if you remember, he said, Jock said that they wind up getting back, either it was 7 million when they finished with the Restore, or it was 11 million. I can't remember. But they wound up making back the money that they had, quote unquote, helped the people with. When reality, just like Mr. Porter said, if they would have just took them on unclaimed funds and wiped out that first 2 million, there was no need for them to have to pay back anything, because you even had 1.5 million or whatever left over to handle what that next wave, which was the breach. You would have had some of that, and then maybe they could have got some money from somewhere else or whatever to pay that. So what was the need for them to make the people pay back if you could have cleared out both those bills?
Nat said it was money laundering.
Well, it just sounds funny, because it didn't make no sense. Now that you say it again, it didn't make no sense. They had enough to wipe out everybody's bills. Now, let me ask you this, Mr. Porter. So in those, was it just the residents, or was it businesses too that wasn't paying their bill?
Oh yeah, it was all.
Everybody wasn't paying their bill.
I mean, there were.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? There was a wide swath of people.
Right.
Businesses.
So
it
crossed everything. It crossed nonprofits. It crossed for-profit businesses. It crossed religious institutions. I'm serious. Schools, even the school board cannot be accepted from this. Some schools and school board buildings didn't pay their bills either. I mean, so it was across the board, you know.
So you made a profit. You were bragging about the profit you made afterwards. So in other words, if you would have wiped out everybody's bill, quote unquote, reset, like you said, nobody should have had to pay back nothing, right?
And look, here's where the numbers just aren't right. They don't add up. Restore was $3.5 million from the CLECO unclaimed settlement. That's people who were overcharged, but they could not be reached anymore. They either move away, passed away, or whatever. And so you were not able to give them a credit on their bill. That amounted to $3.5 million. They got $500,000 from supposedly businesses, and then they got another $500,000 from somewhere else, from the city budget. Okay, so it was roughly about $4.5 million. So now, if you used all of the $4.5 million, which in a previous mayor briefing, he said because of false information, they weren't able to distribute all of the Restore money.
Yes.
He actually said that, right?
Yeah.
Because there were so many, he even used the word lies being spread about the Restore program. Well, so if we're to take him at his word, and that's very tricky because he's not always truthful. So you don't know what to take as truth and what not to. But let's say if we took him at his word and not all of the $4.5 million was used, then there's something less than $4.5 million that was distributed. But then if you got it back and you got it back to the tune of 11 million, where did this other $7+ million come from? You only put out less than 4 million. You got 11 million back. Where did that other 7 million come from?
Yeah. He said, I think either they wound up with 7 million or 11 million at the end of all of this. But where did that extra money come from? You're saying that but you shouldn't even have to charge the people, because if you would have paid everything off, like you said, the reset is to clear off everybody. There was no need for nobody to give him money back unless you were trying to double dip, because you're still paying the utilities. Either way it goes, that was revenue coming in. So you have revenue coming in twice in the same bucket.
You had people, you were paying off people's bills while making them pay for bills that you were making that you were paying off. You were double dipping.
Exactly. That's what I just said. And another thing, Mr. Porter, you made a little point what you just said. Now, remember the process that they were using for people to apply for the Restore. Remember, the computers went down one day. People went to the different facilities to sign up for it, and it was closed. And then they said they had to do it online, and people couldn't do it online. So all of this just sounds too flaky and too planned.
It was bad because my neighbor,
bad from the get-go.
My neighbor was relying on me to get information to them on how to apply for that. I got all the information. They took off from work and lost pay to go to Bolton Community Center so that they could apply for a Restore, and the place was shut down. Even though it was advertised and announced that they would be there taking applications, and they were not.
Yep, it was.
I think we went over it. It was supposed to be like 3 days that one week from 9 to like 12 or something in 2 different locations, and they wanted everybody to apply online.
Yeah,
and then then remember the first day that it was supposed to launch, that it was something wrong with the online server where the people couldn't apply. Because people were staying up all night, just at midnight when it opened up to apply, and it wasn't open.
Yep, sure did. Because they let us know it. They were letting us know it that the what's the name wasn't open. that the website.
I sure do hate that whoever that was that took down my account on Facebook. Y'all got rid of a whole bunch of great videos that we set up there and did. And I really, really dislike y'all for that, but that's okay. I'm sorry.
But yeah.
Yeah, they took out my account on
Facebook.
Facebook, Mr. Porter. So I lost all of our old videos.
You mean the shows?
All the shows are gone.
They completely took him off of Facebook completely.
Wow.
That means you're dangerous. You're dangerous to Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's exactly that's exactly what happened. All those people, because they were letting us know as we were doing the show that they had went and tried to get in and they couldn't get in. They said there was a line wrapped around Broadway, Bolton Avenue, Broadway Center, and half the people couldn't get in. When they got in there, it was just a mess. It was a big mess, and they complained. The citizens complained about it. But I think it was done on purpose. I think it was done on purpose so that everybody would be able to take advantage of that money when all he had to do was wipe their bills out.
It was done on purpose. And look, at that time, I was no longer in office, and I was fielding calls after calls after calls on that and trying to get information for people. They could not even get it from the other council members who was on there. And it was so confusing because when they would go to a city council meeting and ask, Jim Villard would say, no, it's a grant. Lee Rubin would say, no, it was never a grant, it was a loan. Chuck Fowler say, no, it was a loan. And, and Elizabeth Felter was saying, they didn't know themselves, even though they were briefed by the mayor. Now, the three blacks were not briefed at all. They had no clue what was going on. They, and you have to give Cynthia Perry credit. She said, I didn't read it, I didn't understand it, but I voted for it. Now the other two, they didn't read it, they didn't understand it, they had no clue what was going on either. But they were not given the benefit of a briefing by Jack Roy. But even when he briefed the other four, Fowler, Felter, Villard, and Rubin, they came out of that briefing with conflicting information. Two of them were saying, oh, it is a grant. Other two were saying it was never a grant. It was always a loan. Okay, well, which one was it? And so as people would come before the city council to talk about the utility bill, that's when Rubin said, okay, we're not having this anymore. You can no longer talk about utility bills at city council meetings.
Yep,
and then he pulled a quick one. He took himself off of the utility committee and put Gary Johnson over the utility committee. And that's when Gary Johnson sent you and someone else a message. You better get the word out to the blacks that if they come there complaining about the utility bills, we're going to have them thrown out the meeting or something like that.
He sure did. He specifically said that to me. He wanted me to know that.
Yeah,
he didn't say it directly to me, but he wanted to kick me out if I would have came up there.
But he wanted you to get it out. He knew that you have a vehicle for getting the word out. He was hoping you would do that for him.
You would stir up the people for him.
Yeah, because Lee Rubin said, you know what? I'm not going to stand up here and let all of you come here and fuss and cuss and hoop and holler. I'm gonna put a black person there.
I'm gonna put a nigger.
Gary Johnson. And Gary Johnson was too willing to do it. He was, I'll do it. I'll be the chairperson of utilities. And he held one meeting, said he was going to hold some more, and there has never been another meeting since.
Yep, sure didn't. After that, did. So this whole fiasco, this was a 2.5-year fiasco that all of the people that was involved in it knew what was going on, and this was the biggest mess up in this whole thing. And I don't know if they're gonna. And that's another thing DeVee said. He said he don't know if they're going to be able to recover from all of this in 5 years, because he was given an estimate. We always go for goals for 5 years because of all the mess everything that's happened.
Is he trying to fearmonger Jock Roy into another tenure as mayor?
I don't know what it was, but he was basically saying they got to start working on getting this squared away now, because they won't have any reserves at all in 5 years. That's what he said.
Well, Jock is the only person that can fix it.
He said,
right? That's what he's insinuating.
Well, here's
But
what
you said that, but Mr. Porter, I don't know if you remember this, but you predicted that.
Yeah. Well, because when you look at our budgets, the 4 years I was in office, every year our revenue dropped and our expenses increased. So if you extrapolate that out, and as I did while I was at that time, I was looking at anywhere from 12 to 16 years where the lines would cross, and then we would end up in a deficit, because it was a slight drop in revenue, but it was a higher increase in expenses. And if that continued, at the time we had $27 million in what I'll call our savings account, but eventually that would get eaten up. And I projected anywhere between 12 and 16 years that if we don't do something to change that, that this is where we will be,
But if that was you in 4 years ago, but we're now in 2025, that's not far from the 10.
Yeah.
At least the 10.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and based on what David is saying, if he did the same analysis that I did, he's saying that window is now 5 years.
He said 5 years. When you go back, you can watch go on YouTube, UCN, and the last 2 meetings is it'll have Cure on it. You'll see it, and you'll watch it, and you'll see exactly what he said. He broke it all the way down.
Hold on. 5 years from now, if Jock were to win, that would be the end of his next call it? His next whatever he's trying to do.
Yeah.
So now that I think about it, Thomas David was sent there to drum up fear amongst the constituents that Jock Roy is the only person that can fix this. And if you put Jock Roy back in office, it'll be fixed by the time he leaves office.
Well,
he's campaigning.
Well, look, David, isn't David a blood relative of the Roys?
Come on, don't say that. Is he?
Aren't they related? No, I'm serious. I'm asking.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
I thought somewhere down the road someone told me that, who knows both families. So I may be wrong about that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But look, here's the thing. If just 9 months ago we were in great shape, what happened over these last 9 months to where we're in such dire straits right now?
Yeah.
And who was?
I tell you what happened. Malcolm and Jules came back.
Well, that was only since October?
Yeah, that ain't been that long.
That was 9 months ago.
9 months. Okay. Wow, time is flying. My goodness.
It is. It is.
Time is flying.
It is.
Oh, this year has been a lost year for me. It started off rough, and I'm just now getting my feet back under me. But 9 months already that they've been in office. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. 9 months. A baby was born.
2 or 3 babies been born.
But look, if we were in such good situation 9 months ago, and Jock Roy was at the helm, he was, mayor, he was calling all the shots. What happened in 9 months to where we went from the city is in great shape financially to where now we're in such bad shape we have to increase utility rates?
And not only just that, Mr. Porter, it's also in such a shape to where we don't need people filling out FOIA requests to see what's going on with the utilities.
Right. We don't want anybody looking into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And we still don't have an update 3 years later on what happened with the breach, because it's still apparently under investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like I said, we said it before, and I think they got mad when we said that it was an inside job. It just sounds like it was an inside job. No matter how many people that we said was involved in it, it just sounded like an inside job.
I think we might have got a few of the people wrong. I think we might have been looking in the wrong direction.
Look, the characters, I could see the characters could be wrong, but it's just our
The characters could
guesstimation.
be
It's
wrong.
not like we're saying for sure. We're guesstimating from the information that we gathered that something don't sound right.
I would venture to say that Jock was involved.
I would
put $100 on that.
Okay.
Simply because it was his administration, because Jock and Jeff were involved. And if that's true, then go ahead. I'm sorry.
You came up with, okay, so let me ask you this. So when he said that he came up with the restore plan a year in advance, did he know he was going to be the mayor?
Yes, he absolutely did.
Okay. Because he sure said it.
He absolutely knew he was going to get that mayor seat back.
Yep. Sure did. He said, sir, he said it. He said
He absolutely knew that.
A year in advance. He sure said it. Because we played it on the show.
Man, Mr. Porter, I didn't mean to get you involved in this conspiracy theory stuff.
Well,
you're more a fact-based person.
You know me,
but man,
right?
all the facts point that this is a conspiracy.
Well, I deal in facts, so I try not to branch over into.
Well, I'm sorry. I look at the dealing in facts is great, but the fact that this sound like
sometimes you got to deal in a lie too. You know what I mean? You gotta. No, I'm just playing. Y'all, we gotta go. Mr. McCall, you have to wrap this show up.
Look, before you go, let me just add this. So there were companies over the years that approached the city of Alexandria with proposals to take over the utility system, to either purchase it outright from us, or number two, run it for us. Okay. And the fact that we're part of MISO would require paying the separation charge that MISO would assess for us to no longer be a member. All right. But now these organizations, what they were going to do, they had very similar proposals because they do this throughout the United States. They were going to guarantee our people a job for 3 years. Okay. But then after the 3 years, they would operate the way they want to. So our folks would know going in, you're assured of a job for 3 years, but they would no longer be city employees. They would be employees of this new firm, and the firm would operate our facilities and pay us a certain percent every year. So we would have none of the expenses, and we would get a little off the top. Otherwise, we could have sold it to them lock, stock, and barrel and be done with it. And we would just buy electricity off the grid, which is ironic because that's what we're doing right now. Our units don't run very often because they are among the highest costs per megawatt hour in the MISO system. So MISO is looking to make the most money they can. So they run their more efficient plants to meet their demands. And when they cannot meet the demands, then they start getting the other plants that are not as efficient to come online and generate electricity. Meanwhile, MISO is selling all of this electricity through the grid. And there's a certain price they're getting for that, right? So if you can get your lowest cost producer to generate your electricity, you make more profit. When you get your higher cost producers, like the city of Alexandria, then you're not making as much profit. So,
and actually people who are left of MISO too, you know that.
Oh yeah, and you could go online. You could go online and see what they had to pay to get out of that MISO agreement. So it's possible. It'll cost us, but we could turn it over to companies who are big players in this system, because we're a little fish in a big ocean, and we're just not up to the task. And we're not doing our citizens a favor by continuing to do that. But they are propagating this myth that, and you'll hear this from people like Vallard and Chuck Fowler, if we didn't own our own utility, our prices would be even higher. Well, that's not true, because when you look on the grid, folks can buy electricity from the grid cheaper than what we're being charged right now. You know, we're being charged in some cases 14 cents per megawatt hour down to 8 cents per megawatt hour, and you could go on the grid and get it less for 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So
okay, so if you guys go to the FAQ section of the City of Alexandria Utility Department, it says, why was it necessary to send out an estimated utility bills in the summer of 2022? It says the city had a network computer breach. And by the way, this is at cityofalexandria.com. The city had a network computer breach at the beginning of June that blocked access to the utility billing system and to the customer usage data. As a result, we could not access user history, enter updated meter readings, or send out bills. It says, does the city of Alexandria produce its own energy? If yes, why do we purchase energy from CLECO? The city can and does produce its own energy when it's cheaper to do so rather than purchase from MISO, an not-for-profit member-based organization responsible for operating the power grid across 15 states and into the Canadian province of Manitoba. The city has a 35 million watt contract with CLECO and only purchase energy when the predicted cost of the energy from CLECO is cheaper than MISO. It is rare for the city to purchase from CLECO as they are usually higher than the MISO market price. Why do fuel cost rates? Fuel cost fluctuates. Fuel cost rates fluctuate with the rise and fall of the fuel source needed to generate electricity. And that is on the official City of Alexandria website.
But you got to remember, Tavares, remember Mr. Fowler, because Mr. Fowler sits on that board too, the Cure board. He was there too. And he asked the question about CLECO. Will we be increasing for CLECO too if we're going to increase the rate for the utility? And they said, we're not worried about that at this time. We first got to get approved for the increase on the regular, the utilities through the city. I don't know if they was trying to push that first or what, but he mentioned CLECO. So you can't say we don't use them that much, but yet and still they're included in this whole rate increase. But they're saying not right at this moment. Because he asked that question. That was the last question he asked. He said, so are we going to go up on CLECO too if we're going to go up on, the City of Alexandria rates? And they made that comment that no, not right now. We're not worried about that right now. We got to get this done first.
Yeah, so, you know what? That doesn't make a lot of sense what Fowler said, because our cost is not based on what CLECO's charging.
I know, but he said it. He sure said it.
Yeah.
He said,
but
we're not worried about that.
He may be privy to some information we're not,
that we don't have.
Yeah. That's right. That's
he
right.
may
Which
be
we know
privy
he probably is. It's Chuck Fowler. Come on now. Fowler been sitting up there 30 years, 80 years.
32
Okay.
years.
So he got a lot of information we ain't privy to when it comes to them utilities.
Yeah.
No, wait, that would mean that him and Jock, they've been in this he was in for 10 years when Jock came on board.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he was already in place. Yep. So don't tell me he don't know nothing. He know a lot.
He know how to keep his foot on certain communities' necks. He know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
He know how to keep his foot on certain people's necks.
Yep. Yeah.
And look, when myself and Joe Fuller, Jules Green, and Ed Laverdane was in office together, he wouldn't even show up for some meetings. He would actually, and some meetings he would leave early. That's how committed he was when we had a majority city council.
Mm-hmm.
There were meetings he wouldn't even show up to, and some he would show up and he'd leave early.
Mm-hmm.
So
he wasn't a conservative.
Okay, before we do one last thing, I have a very important question to ask because it was asked to me by somebody that is able to glean the things that we're able to glean, and they're able to put the word out. They asked me specifically, they're trying to figure out why Jock Roy left office in the first place. Why did he leave office if he was going to leave his entire staff there? What was the point of him leaving?
Well, we don't have anything concrete. Everything is just subjective. But apparently he was concerned that some things would surface that would take him out of office. And if it occurred like that, he would never be able to run again. And then others say, well, there was some other issues, that
extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, that he had to tend to, and kick and get.
I know what you're getting at.
And so, and so there was a few things that they were saying. Well, maybe you ought to take some time off. And should you take time off while you're in office, or should you just take a sabbatical and then come back? And so the decision was he would take a sabbatical and then come back after he kicked his habits and stuff.
But see, that's why I said, Mr. Porter, I'm sorry. I know the election system, our election system. I just think a lot of stuff went on with this election system. A lot went on.
The last election cycle?
That he got back in there like that. That's crazy. And let me tell you something. If you go on KLB sometimes and you listen to some of the comments, people are like really totally disappointed with Jock, like all the way around. Like, how did y'all put him back in there? That's the question that's been asked a lot. How in the world did he get put back in there? So a lot of people, we think a lot of people is on his side. It's not like that. Unless they faking on KLB when those kind of conversations come up. But they are very disappointed in him. Very disappointed.
We have a comment that says he left to put a flake in place to make it look like his hands were clean, but now his dirty deeds are catching up with him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yo, we got to wrap this show up. Go ahead, Ms. McCall.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Porter. I hope you come back the night after next.
I'm going to try. I got my grandson that I'm taking care of while my daughter travels, and sometimes when he's up and don't want to cooperate, I hit my hands.
So if we do the show at 9:30. So if you're available, then just come on in. We'll be here.
Yeah, she moved it an hour back, so it's later at night. That's why we 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, just getting off.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock where you guys are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
uh-huh,
forgot you in Denver. So it's like
Yeah.
what, 12 where you at?
Yeah, it's almost 12. It's 11:53 here. Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's 12:53 here. Yeah. Okay.
So
said,
Are
how
you
many
still running for
presidents
Congress?
if what now?
Are you still running for Congress?
No,
Oh,
no, I'm not running for Congress.
You're gonna run for mayor?
Am I running for mayor?
Yeah. Will you run for mayor?
Is that the question? Well, it's to be determined. Okay. We'll
yeah. You gave them people a little hope. You don't know how many people just jumped up out of their seat with you saying that.
we need
These
somebody.
people are,
We need
they
somebody
do.
who could set priorities and priorities in a fair way that benefits all the districts, you know.
Mhm.
And right now we just don't have that. And that's not hard to do. It's really not. You just have to have the will to do it. There are ways to do it. There's multiple ways. So many ways we can skin this cat. You just got to be willing to skin it, you know. And
Exactly.
and we don't have that up there. We just don't. So
Look,
I
Mr.
just
Porter,
hope there's somebody out there in Alexandria that can do that.
it
and,
is you. Anyway, like I was saying,
He's not in
Mr. Porter,
Alexandria.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
But he lives. He's a damn
But I
resident.
will
yeah,
be
okay, yeah.
back.
I see what you're saying, but yeah, no.
Yeah. But listen, Mr. Porter, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Natchitoches, the new mayor for Natchitoches. He's already working on the pipes in the city. He's gone through city. He's going street by street, tearing it up and putting them back together, repairing the pipes. The one in Baltimore, the mayor of Baltimore, young guy, probably in his 30s, he's created youth programs that create jobs. They're keeping the kids off the streets, and Baltimore's murder rate is down. Their crime
Right.
rate is down.
Right.
So just what you said, it's plausible, and that's a bigger city, okay, bigger than Alexandria. We're number 6 as one of the most dangerous cities in the United States right now.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that there's no solutions. But if you don't want your city to grow, and because you got so much dirt here, if you don't want your city to grow, you're going to do everything you can to keep everybody out. You know, he's very funny about people coming to his city anyway,
Right.
knowing what's
Cool.
going on. So you get
talking about
somebody
Jock?
in there you get somebody in there that's actually going to do the work. All that don't matter. It don't matter. And you got to remember, a lot of the old heads that was running things, they ain't running nothing no more. Get what I'm saying? I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about that other color. Them old
I
heads
think-
that was in place, they ain't.
How long did Randolph stay mayor? Well, he did like 35 years.
24.
24. 'cause
So
And
Jock's
she
trying to
was
beat his record.
yeah, she was running it anyway.
Well,
So
I'm saying
there's-
because you know Jock FEF. This will be his 20th year, right? At the end of 26. They're trying to position him so he could. Jock is young enough to actually do another maybe 2 or 3 terms as mayor.
Yeah, but that's what we need.
And I
to
think
prevent.
that's what his aspiration is.
We need to prevent it. So don't tell me that these programs and these ways that these mayors are coming up and making things change in their cities. It cannot be done. Alexandria is not that big. We're talking about Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. Do you know the population of Baltimore, Maryland, that they've gotten their crime rate down? So don't say it can't be done here. You just got to have, like you said, the right person to do it. And right now, Jock is not it. Jock is not it. Jock is not the answer for 2026. He's not the answer for 2028. He's not the answer for anything right now. His term, when he up, somebody else need to come in there and really, because we're going to suffer. See, this is what the people don't understand. We're going to suffer in these next 4 or 5 years.
If you give Jock another 8 years, the Black population in Alexandria will decrease dramatically.
It will be gone. Yeah, it won't be.
They'll be gone, and that might be what he's there to do.
But I don't see him staying that long. It's time for him. To
I
go.
don't know. I definitely don't see it. I'm just saying,
It's
to the
time for him
people
to
that
go.
are out there that can make a difference, try to make a difference, try to make people aware. Mr. Porter's been out of office 12 years now, and he's still involved. And he's still, well, 12 and a half. Some of us don't even live in Alexandria.
Right.
And matter of fact, none of us actually live in Alexandria proper. We really don't. Exactly. So like to have this kind of concern to where we're talking about this at 1 a.m., it means something. And I hope, and by the way, all your shows from last week and the last couple of weeks, they're all trending upwards of 1,000 views. So you're doing pretty good.
Wow. See, I don't pay
He
attention
says Roy
to
kept
that.
saying, Miss Jessica says, Roy kept saying, stop the crime during Hall's administration and didn't do anything about it since he's been there.
Yeah.
Remember he was going to bring in all of these new police officers. All this stuff he was going to do. And we just keep going the opposite way. I
know. You heard about them 2 cops, right?
Yeah, I did.
They tased a teenage girl, and it wasn't even a black girl. It was a white girl that they tased. It was a dry tase. So they didn't deploy the taser. They just stuck the taser to her and hit her with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But see, the thing is, too, people are waking up. That's what makes him angry, because the stuff that he used to do, Mr. Porter, he don't do it no more because we've been kind of schooling the people. So he gets angry because he can't say what he wants to the people, and they taking it for words. I'm telling you, honey, they're not flavor. Their flavor of the week is not Jock anymore. And I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the other form people, the clear people. He's not
the palm colored people.
Yeah, the palm colored people.
They're
not.
We don't want to go into any more debt that the cities got into. We got too many debt from 2013 and 14 when Jock was in office before. He tried to add to that with that bond thing, which was a total disrespect of the city council president, because you're not supposed to do anything like that without going through the city council first. They had already gone to the bond commission. The other thing too is in the city charter, before the mayor goes to the state legislature, the mayor is supposed to come before the city council to get their approval and tell them what he's going to the legislator with. He didn't do that either. He just totally skirting them, running around
He gave
them.
a long soliloquy on why he didn't have to go to the city council for that.
And that was all false. That was all wrong. That time I was in Dallas and I kept getting phone calls and messages, and folks were sending me links of what he was saying on that conference, that press conference. And it's right there in the charter. He is supposed to go through the city council before he goes to the state legislature. So everything he said in there was a lie. But if our people don't read the city charter, then they don't know. They just don't know. They think he's telling the truth. And everything he said in that press conference was false.
Yeah, he sure did. And he knows that nobody was reading about it and nobody knowed about it, but it just didn't sound right. But he doubled down on everything he said to validate why he did it. And he got somebody from our local, I forgot who it was, that signed off on it for him.
That was not who was it?
That?
It was
Alexander, right?
Was
from
it Alexander?
No, it was the guy from Pineville, Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson. That's who it was, Mike Johnson.
Yeah, he got Mike Johnson to sign off of it. So he went past Ed, and I think it was one other person he could have went to, but he went past them and went to Mike Johnson. So Mike Johnson could introduce the bill that even with a FOIA request, the information will be limited on what you could get from the City of Alexandria's utility department.
And you see that not only was that in violation of the charter, it was a total disrespect, but he knew he could do that because he knew that the persons were not familiar with that and didn't know. See?
Yep.
And by the time it was brought up,
by that time, Malcolm was the one who demanded that they tell him what it was. That's why, and he got mad because Malcolm put it out there. Because I think Natnam was telling Malcolm, you need to ask what all that means. Why did he do that? And so Malcolm asked the mayor at the meeting, what was this for? Why did you do that? And he went on this long diatribe.
He didn't want to have to explain that to y'all because by him explaining it, he would have had to lie, and he did, So he didn't want to have to. That was just an additional lie he didn't want to tell, I guess.
He was kind of frustrated that he had to explain himself to why he went down there without telling somebody that he was going.
Yeah, but the way he's running circles around the city council instead of coming to the city council, and that's disrespectful of the city council president too, because that's not how you run a city. You don't do that. But he's done it not just once. He's done it 3 times
already.
Yeah.
So
I guess he's
that's
not
why
really
he
worried about that then.
Huh?
I guess he's not really worried about the city council.
Well, because he got Cynthia is the doggone what's her name? That's his buddy. You heard how she was praising him. Come on now. She said he texted her.
Okay. Wrap this show up. Don't do that.
All right. I'm just saying. Shoot, that's his buddy. Am I lying? Do you want me to pull that up? Because I can pull up.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. She did like White did.
Oh, Mr. Porter. Oh, man. So Cornelius gets up there, of all people, and he hosts this big soliloquy every beginning of every meeting. He gets up there and I want to thank the mayor and the police department for the excellent job that they continue to do. And I'm thinking to myself, wasn't you on the floor yelling, help, help? Didn't they throw you on the floor? Them same people.
And had to hospitalize him also.
You had to be oh, come on. And then they still charged you. And you over there thanking them. I said, boy, if this ain't plantation sensation meditation, this man here needs to be studied. Because ain't no way in hell you would ever catch me up at no damn city council meeting thanking the mayor and the APD. I know your job is hard and you just got to do what you got to do, even if it includes beating my ass. Just go ahead and do it. And, I'm thankful for the ass whooping. I appreciate it.
Someone he said the APD had him in a bigger portlock.
Yeah, they had that man on the ground with his legs all wrapped up. Help! Help! They on my back. They was on his back. They was beating the hell. I mean, I don't know if they beat him, but they definitely had that man hemmed up. But for him to get up there, I said, boy, if that ain't, what's that? Not Munchausen. It's what's that thing where you don't? Yeah, he got that Homestock syndrome. He got the black version. It's the Homestock. Yeah, he got that Homestock syndrome. And boy, oh boy.
Go back to UCN, the last show we did. No, the show before that one. That was the show before that one. Go back and see that one. That's gonna make you. Me and Miss Linda was laughing so hard, my stomach was hurt. Tavares is stupid because he kept saying it through the whole damn thing. Help! Help!
They threw him on the ground, Mr. Porter. You seen it?
Oh, I saw it. I saw that. Yes.
Was it performative? Did he yeah? Well, how did man? Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
That was funny as hell.
And
all right, so now we gotta let him go.
Yeah, it's sad because Jim Villard was city council president, and he truncated a meeting prematurely, which without going through the entire agenda, which is a violation of the charter also. Okay.
That's what it was.
Damn. That's like they do that shit for fun. Let me see which rule I can break today.
and so Cornelius White was in his right not to leave because officially this meeting is not over. And they wanted everybody out the city council chambers. Everyone else had left. You know, Jack Roy left and he told them take him down. And he went over to the revival where the black ministers were. Okay. And so Bradley and his group of I don't know what to call them.
Merry men.
His gang of whatever, they took him down and subdued him and all that stuff. And then guess what? Somebody must have told them in the back, hopefully it was either Trey Giss or Jonathan Goins, that, hey, you can't do this. You're violating state rules, your laws. You're going to have to go back and complete the meeting. And so they had to come back and convene the meeting again, you know?
Yep, sure did.
But yeah, they're getting to the point where they're just doing, now with Jack Roy as mayor, they're doing whatever they like.
But you know what it reminds you of, Mr. Porter? Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, he's definitely Republican. He can holler Democrat all day long, but he act and quack like a duck.
I tell you what, I will give it that Jock is. I'll give it that Jock is a Democrat, but Jock works for Republicans.
No,
Well,
I ain't gonna give it to him.
Well, you know what? He is definitely conservative.
Yes.
So you could call him Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you like, but it's no doubt he's staunchly conservative.
Yep.
You know, so most of the people who are staunchly conservative, they register and identify as a Republican, but you got some staunchly conservative independents and staunchly conservative Democrats. So they're all under the same tent. You know?
And he knows
would you? Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, with him being you know who's the majority that votes. Who's the majority that votes in the city of Alexandria? And how do they vote?
Well, no, not votes, but what's the majority demographic of Alexandria?
Not only that, but what do they majority vote as? What is their voting affiliation? It's going to be Democrat. So
also, there was an article on KLAB about, your boy Petey Williamson switched from Democrat to Republican, Mr. Porter. He's going to be running against Elbert Guillory.
Lord. That's a topic for another time. But look, Miss Jessica Wade brought back a term from the 1960s, the Dixiecrats.
Correct.
And that's when the big switch occurred, where the Democrats was always anti-integration, anti-civil rights and everything. And the Republicans were the ones pushing that. And now the two parties have totally switched sides, and the Republicans are anti-affirmative action, anti-diversity, anything for social programs. And so the way they describe themselves, the Southern Democrats became Dixiecrats. And that's the term she recollected and put up on the screen. And that's exactly what's happening now. It's a return to the Dixiecrats.
Because that's where they want to be. I look at Amanda Seals, and Amanda Seals made a comment I made a long time ago. She said whenever they was doing this party affiliation switch, she said we should have already carved out our own party. I said, I've been saying that for years. We should have had our own party that's going to be in the interest of us, because neither one of those parties care about us, neither one of them. And I said that a long time ago too, that we should have had our own party. I don't know how it would have worked out, but
that's the type of shit that'll get you knocked off of Facebook. So go ahead and wrap up the show. Last time we talked about this, that was 2 accounts ago. I still have my other account.
We need to separate.
Yeah, you can't be saying that type of stuff on Facebook.
Okay. All right. All right, you guys. You guys, thank you so much. I got to go real quick. Thank you, Mr. Porter. Thank you, Miss Linda. Thank you, Tavares. Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Mr. Mercer. Thank you, Miss Bell. Let's see. Thank you, Miss Dixon. Thank you, Miss Finley. Let's see who else we have up here. Did I miss out on? Let's see. I want to make sure I got everybody. Dixon. Let's see.
Yeah, you got a lot of motion on Facebook. You getting good numbers.
Oh, Miss Wade. Miss Wade. Hey, Miss Wade. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, he only tells the public what he wants them to know. Yep, that's right. So yes, and let me see what else. She said Uncle Ruckus got Stockholm syndrome.
I don't. That's derogatory. Okay. We don't want to refer to him as a black person that hates black people.
Okay. Anyway, good night, you guys. Miss Wade, thank you, guys. We shall be back. Today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We should be back Wednesday night. Okay.
I also want to thank the APD.
I really feel disappointed that we could not watch the Hurricane Katrina video, even though I purchased it, but I can't do it because it belongs to National Geographic. So I can't do it without getting strictly licensed permission from National Geographic to actually show the video. So, I'm not doing all that. If you want to watch it, come over to the house.
I think we can do it now. If we had a closed show to like how we have it right now, we weren't live, and we gave people the link, we could do it.
Yeah, we could do it that way, but not like this. But that's all right. That's no big deal. Okay, but you guys have a great night. Thank you, Mr. Porter. I'm hoping you're going to be available on Wednesday. If not, we will wait till you bring yourself back to Alexandria and get ready for your pet campaign. I mean, get ready for the next year. You know,
don't do that.
For you. No, that's putting it in the air, in the atmosphere. So no,
yeah, but like the guy, he's sitting right here. You can't you can't manifest when the person is sitting there. You have to.
Well, I can look at him and say, "I'm manifesting this to you, Mr. Porter." Okay. Now, how about that?
Them people, like I said, them people. If Mr. just at the idea of it, Mr. Porter, you gave people a lot of hope. So
you did.
I don't know. You got to be careful with those types of things.
Yeah, I don't want to toy with people's expectations. So
yeah,
you see how sarcastic I am. You see how nonchalant's being about it. Like, I don't want to. You get it. All right.
But look, and whenever I can join in, I will join in. Okay.
Yeah, but you already know, Mr. Porter, everybody think of you as being the new mayor anyway. I don't know. Look what she did with Miss Blair.
That was already that was damn near a year ago. They've been calling you that.
Yeah, we did that a year ago, remember? And them people got scared. Jock got scared.
Well, you do know that the content of this show is going to be the subject of a mayor briefing. Maybe next week or so.
Well, I don't know, Mr. Porter. He kind of stopped paying attention to us. He's got like bigger fish to fry. He's got 2 cops that are going around beating the shit out of black folks, and they're trying to avoid calling it racist. They're really working hard to talk around that. He's like, well, look, man, they also abused a white person, so it can't be racist.
Yeah, that's basically what he said, because that was a question that was asked. Look, Mr. Porter, real quick. I promise you it's going to be real quick. So, now he's playing Sinlaw Broadcasting reporters against KLB. You know that right now.
Oh.
Right?
No.
Yeah, so look, he brought back Stephen Maxwell.
Yes,
he's got Stephen Maxwell over at Sinlaw Broadcasting now, and he's trying to plot him against Mr. Colin Vidros.
Wow.
Because Jock hates KLAB.
Yeah,
he hates them because they keep on asking him pointing, like they keep bringing up the shit he's trying to hide. So he had to go get Steven.
Yeah,
because he didn't have any help, and Jack wasn't helping him. Matter of fact, that last mayor's briefing about this incident with the police, Jack asked him a question, and you know what Jack told Jack? Yeah, I'm only answering questions from accredited news sources. So if it's KLAB or Sinlaw Broadcasting, I'll answer their questions. Go ahead.
He was so disrespectful. Oh my God. If if that was one of us, we would have cussed him out. I would have got kicked out of there because ain't no way you would have talked to me the way he talked to Jack.
Jock wouldn't have handled us like that.
He would have
wouldn't have
never
did
done
that
that
to
to
us.
us. Oh, hell no.
Even if he does hate us, he would have never did that to us.
He talked to Jack.
He looked him dead in his face. Yeah, I'm only taking questions from accredited news sources. KLAB or Similar Broadcasting, you guys got any questions?
Totally ignored him. And he asked another question, and he didn't say nothing to him. He was so Jock was so disrespectful to Jack. It almost made you feel sorry for Jack. That's how disrespectful.
I did. Look, Mr. Porter, my heart has changed. I was like, damn, boy, that's some disrespectful stuff right there.
He was disrespectful to
and Mr. Porter, to put ice cream on the cake, he was smiling about it.
Yep,
he was smiling as he said it.
Yep.
All right, y'all. It's been 20 extra minutes. All right. We gotta go.
That was really messed up. So good night, you guys.
All right, good night,
Mr. Porter. If you stick around, she can end the live, but we can still have a conversation.
No, Mr. Porter needs to go to bed. It's 1:19 in the morning. Good night.
It's 12:19 in the morning over there.
Yeah, but look, my grandson wakes up early, so.
Okay, all right, fine then. We'll let you go. All right.
Gets up, I have to get up, So.
Oh, Grandpa Porter.
So we'll find time to have a conversation, okay?
Yeah,
all right. When I have kids, you gonna take care of mine too?
Yes,
all right.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't got that to worry about. All right.
Bye, you guys. Good night.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.